Hi, Rose. Good right. I don't know. I haven't answered that question in 10 years. Puts you out of balance when you do. Wild. You think you know something and you find out you don't. I got Shadow back yesterday. He's been missing 6 months. Kelly's cat.
Okay.
The irony in the situation is that the only one that cares about Kelly's cat is me, of course. I mean, I'm the one feeding it,
Yeah.
bailing it out of jail. Kelly's family couldn't be bothered. Cat's been missing 6 months.
Dang.
And they just found out yesterday. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's crazy.
When a man says something, it's ignored. When women say things, boy, it's like an Amber Alert. So today is about women realize. Next couple of days is going to be about feminism failing women. And listen to some of these things. It's hilarious, right? Like this woman right here. She's a single mom, and she went out to a club the other day and found out all the guys are going gay. Shit's fucking hilarious. Listen to this shit. What really? Oh my God.
Hmm?
Women are allergic to accountability. That's amazing. Women don't want to be held accountable by the same standards that they themselves established for men.
Yeah. Know a lot of women like that.
Oh, I know. Maine is full of angry white females that hate themselves, their race, which is why they prefer black men. It's amazing. That's why in 20 years there won't be any white men left. Women hate themselves, hate their own race.
Yeah.
And then I'm a hateful person because I told the truth. Truth is actually hate speech today. It's amazing.
I've noticed.
I got 4 daughters telling the same thing I'm telling you right now. Okay, Ross, if they're going to the gym with a sound guy and a camera, they're not, they're there to pick a fight. They're there to cause problems. They went there with the intent to cause a problem. They weren't going to make a fitness documentary. They're there to give men a hard time with their cameras. Isn't it amazing? And then they get to make a piece of propaganda against that creep, about that creep, and who's going to defend the creep from the documentary three random people made? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Holy shit. No. Holy shit.
So,
I'd love to have some of these women's kids on here and have a conversation with them. Huh?
yeah.
That would be a great story. So we can see how fucked up the kids are. Right? So this logical dating, this woman is the woman that runs this channel. I'd love to have her on here. That'd be a hell of a conversation.
I'd watch it.
Right.
I'd watch it.
I respect the hell out of a woman that runs this channel. She makes a lot of money.
Pretty much.
Okay.
She's looking for a treat. Yeah. What are the how many of these women do you think are going to the gym and they're dressing like this and they're, you know, I'm recording my fitness diary. You're not recording your fitness diary. You're looking for a simple, broken man that you can manipulate, control, and get to pay your bills for you.
Yeah.
For a sucker. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
The women are hunting and tapping men, and men don't want to leave their houses anymore. What? Where are daddy providers, Rose? Rose,
What?
where's the stepdaddy providers for all these single baby mamas? Right, Dick? Where's the stepdaddies for these single mamas with babies? And I heard it from a beautiful black lady the other day. She said this. She said, women, unless your baby daddy is dead or in prison, you are not a single mama. You have a baby daddy. And this woman's like, where are the stepdaddy providers? Where are they all at? Where are those chemically castrated cunts that can raise my children for me because I don't want to do it? Yeah. To emphasize further on what he's saying, the social conditioning requires for women to think that men should be 6'6", which is God given and has nothing to do with natural abilities or something they can go out and acquire for themselves. So already, my man's got to be 6'6" and a six pack abs with six figures in the bank. And if you don't fit that criteria, stay 6 feet away from me. Holy shit. I did a statistical search the other day. Blonde hair, blue eyed Aryans that are 6'6", six pack abs with a 6-inch pecker. They're endowed well, 6 inches. Only two available in the whole country. So those two fellas get the pick of the lot. They don't have to fight. No. The women are fighting for the two men. It's amazing. Meanwhile, they're freezing their eggs, waiting for their shot at one of two men. And don't forget how many of these women today, I said this before, how many women would think it's their patriotic duty to reproduce children that don't have a father? I'm sure that's healthy. Statistically speaking, 80% of children grow up without access to their father because the woman was too busy replacing the father with another one, a simp, a stepdaddy. Will someone step up and take care of the mess I made? Because I just don't want to do it myself.
That's so fucking true.
What's that, Nick?
That's so true.
So true. the mess we all create a mess though too in our own regards, but there's a lot of truth behind that statement.
Right. And when you go to welfare and you go to Social Security, you go to benefits halls and you go to see a caseworker, their policies, procedures, and protocols have incentivized it for women to kick the fathers of the children out of the equation altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So the welfare policies are designed to divide and conquer family homes. Talking about it makes you a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Oh, exactly. I mean, governments are designed to conquer anything they can,
Divide and conquer. And it starts with the family home. Government said, geez, if I have control over the child, I have control over the mother. 2 for the price of 1. And if I got 2 out of 3, well, the third one's just going to fall on his knees. Kneel.
Pretty amazing.
It is. Hey, good rising, Matthew. What's up? Did you give me in coming around 10? I'm just getting up. Yep. Yeah. Cool.
Already got them banging on your door wanting to get in, huh?
Yeah. I
Good
like
deal.
that voice.
Yeah, it's a nice problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
Just an opportunity coming through your door, I guess.
I got Shadow out of jail yesterday.
Yeah, I seen that.
He's put on weight since he got out of here, man. Looks like he gained about 10 pounds.
That's what he said, yeah.
I'm like, you got fat. Now
We've been hanging out at the...
You look at the picture I posted on my wall, the 2 are the same exact size. Shadow is always smaller than Taz, and now Shadow just jumped past him. Whoa, Shadow, you got big.
Big environment though too, being outside and
Right. He was a
stuff.
mouser and a hunter. I mean, he caught a few mice around here. And my neighbor lady next door says, I haven't been seeing any mice. And I was wondering why.
Yep.
My cat fucking been eating them all.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something about that, those cat parasites and the mice and how they say a lot of people have a cat parasite. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's interesting, just like that, how a parasite transfers, how they're into those praying mantises, those worms, and they get in the water, then they come out of them, it's just like the mice is attracted, the cat eats the mouse is full of a parasite, but the parasite gets in the mouse, then it's in the cat, then the cat is, licking and whatever the human, and they can transfer that parasite to the human.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is, and it's almost. I heard that there's it's a pretty high percentage. It's something to check out and look into.
Wow.
So, not saying you got a cat parasite, but we've all been around them.
Right. Right. No, I'm just happy to have him back, man.
Yeah.
But on the record, that the Shadow wasn't even my responsibility. Shadow was Kelly's cat. See what I'm saying?
And who's that? The
one that got away. I mean, the one.
Yeah, but who?
Yesterday.
But who was?
Kelly was my previous girlfriend.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's what I didn't understand.
We were together 10 years. And one day she got sick with MS, and I told her she got worms. I haven't spoke to her since. Family thinks I'm crazy. Father's dead. Her mother might be dead. Very sick.
Yeah.
Her brother died from drug over addiction, and her sister's an addict. So I mean, like, quality of characters in the family, you know, and not one of them is going to give a shit about Kelly's cat.
Yeah.
Why would they? There's nothing in it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave me to
Yeah.
pay all the bills. That's what men are for, right? Paying the bills.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a couple friends that have MS, and I've mentioned the same thing to them. And when one of my friends, his mother had MS, and she battled it. You know, she did well and got a little bit better. And I suppose they, you know, they bee kept and did organic gardening and this and that. But if they didn't do a good parasite cleanse, they ain't gonna get nothing.
Right. And see me eating mushrooms.
Yeah.
That's a natural parasite cleanse. It turns
Right.
out that mushrooms naturally eat parasites or death and decay. Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's amazing. Well,
But
it's
we're not
me why I
supposed
want
to
to eat them all the
understand
time.
that. We're not supposed to know that at all. Not at all. Right? I mean, why would the doctors want you to know about mushrooms naturally eating parasites that are housed within you? And you get worms from eating pork chops, chicken, bad food.
Yeah, you know, fish, sushi. I fucking love sushi. Then I used to eat a lot of it. You know, sashimi. You know, just raw fish, like a fucking bear.
Uh, but when you have parasite, this also helps explain some of people's cravings. Sugar,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
sugar, parasites, low sugar. Yummy.
Yeah, they do. You know, you see those big bears coming out of the woods, and they got those big tapeworms hanging out their ass. You know, just look like a fucking white string and
Right.
multiple strings. And you know, us as humans, like I just said, I love sashimi and sushi and things like that. But if we don't do a parasite cleanse and get after them, I've seen this one gal. She does castor oil. She takes a spoon of sugar, big spoon of sugar, like a big tablespoon of just raw cane sugar, and she says you bait the fucking parasites out with the sugar. Then she puts that castor oil. You know, must be some kind of a food grade castor oil in there. She said it ain't the most pleasant thing to take down, but she says they will fucking get them. You know, that castor oil is the thing to do. And you know, remember the old cartoons? They used to do that. They'd Popeye and stuff. They'd be giving
Yeah.
the baby castor oil.
Yeah.
They hated it, but shit, they showed us in the cartoons that they were giving it to children back then.
Right.
Pretty amazing. But hey, I'm gonna run in and do a quick workout, and I'll try to catch up with you when I'm done.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, see ya.
Yeah. Let's get back into this. What do you think so far, Rose? Any feminine input?
I don't know. I don't know.
Am I onto something? Or am I just batshit crazy?
No, you're onto something.
So part of my floor is about cross-generational relationships. The relationship between parents and their children, mother to son, and father to daughter. 80% of children grow up missing one or the other.
Yeah.
When it's a strong mom and she's got a little baby boy, that little baby boy, without influence of the father, is going to wind up being a failed man in women's sports. If it's a father raising a daughter, that daughter is going to grow up to be that alpha mom, that tomboy, that woman that thinks she's a man, boss lady, alpha female. And the only thing that's gonna just appease an alpha female is simp, a service animal, a man that they can control, mentally manipulate, and extract wealth from. A man they can use, abuse. Amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's really interesting right there because most women apparently don't think they have a future, right? And my whole three baskets approach to money. One basket is the past, One basket is today, and one basket is for tomorrow. And you got $3 in your pocket. Where are you putting your money? In all three baskets. That's really confusing to women. I don't know why that's confusing. Why is it confusing for you to split your money three ways? $1 for the past, $1 for today, and $1 for tomorrow. Did I confuse you with my words? Come on. I'm getting tired of the silent treatment, people. You think that's a sign of intelligence? No, it's not.
Is there, but he's trying to get there, and you're the one who can help him make that happen.
I do have a friend. We've known each other for about like 5 years, but it's not intimate or anything.
Have you had them?
Maybe at the very beginning.
Wait, what do you mean
once.
maybe?
Yeah.
How do you not know if you
Well,
somebody?
it's just because we just don't see each other that way, I guess.
Well, regardless of how you see each other,
Yeah.
past, present, future, you objectively had his inside of you.
Yes.
One way, yeah, right? I mean, so you did in fact have sex with him
Once.
one time.
When we thought that it was going to work out. It's just, it will never work out.
Why?
I have a lot of standards that I expect from a man.
Sure. What are those?
Someone with goals
Goals.
and consistency.
Does he have a
Times-
job?
He does have a job, a really good job.
What's his job?
Yeah. He's a sanitation worker.
That pays well, I think, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he does really well.
Why only the one time? Was it bad? Good.
Yeah,
Wasn't good.
it was the best.
You said you had high standards, right? Did the previous two men you were dating have those things?
Yes.
And did you end it with those men?
They both broke up with me.
They broke up with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So weird.
Will you date a guy who's obese?
No.
Okay. Why not?
I just prefer, I feel like, I mean, I know obviously I'm a little bit overweight, but I definitely want my partner to take care of themselves in that way, especially if we're getting a little bit older.
When you say
it's important
take
to me.
care, so I mean,
Fit.
you want the guy to be fit. Is that correct?
Yes.
At LensCrafters, we're here to help you see the difference. It's where innovation meets precision, digitizing the eye care industry with state-of-the-art eye exams. The next generation of vision care is here. LensCrafters. See the
I don't
difference.
even know what they are.
Here's everything you need to know about Fortnite Chapter 7. You can now revive yourself.
That's a takeaway in this. Women don't have a clue what they want. They want to
Finished my workout. I was walking out of the gym and this guy like runs after me. I got my headphones in. It's like 7 a.m. This was one of my 5 a.m. workouts. He runs down and he like taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, I saw you working out. I think you're really cute." And I was like, "Thanks." Like, first of all, bless. That was my 5 a.m. workout. Okay. Your girl was not working with the best stuff. But then he's like, what's your name? And I was like, "Listen, thank you so much, but I'm married." And he was nice about it. He was like, "Okay, that's all right," and walks away. But I was like, I went home and I was talking to my husband about it. And I was like, I knew that man had intention for me. So he didn't get a single piece of me. Like, I'm not opening the door to have him come up to me in the mornings at the gym to be like, hey, Ashley, good morning. That door's closed. Like, I'm married. I water my own grass. My lawn is immaculate. And for all the wives, all the partners, husbands too, I guess, like, what's your stance on this? If you knew somebody had intention for you, would you have still given your name?
You are allowed to leave your perfect husband. You are allowed to end a relationship with a really great boyfriend, the kind of guy that all your friends and family love. They say you're so lucky to have found him. He checks all the boxes and he really cares about you. You're allowed to end that relationship, because no matter how good he is, no matter how great he is to all the other people in your life, how much they all love him, it does not change the fact that when you get into bed beside this man at night, you feel dead inside. It does not change the fact that when you do the bedroom things, you don't feel passion. You don't feel like your body is singing and coming to life, because, by the way, that's what it's supposed to feel like, FYI. You just feel like you are going through the motions of something that you are trying to get over and done with. And you don't feel an urge to be close with him throughout the day. You don't feel an urge to be affectionate. In fact, you feel resentment, and that resentment is starting to spill out in bitterness.
Of course, anyone is allowed to leave anyone, but ladies, you better be ready to be the villain, especially if that good man you're leaving is your husband. And I'm just going to say it, because most women cannot handle being the villain, which is exactly why women will make a good man out to be a bad guy. So on top of completely blindsiding her husband with divorce papers, she also oftentimes publicly bashes him in order to justify leaving him. And don't even get me started with what she'll say about him if they have kids together and she doesn't want to share them. That's the side of this advice that's really messed up.
9.5 times out of 10, it's the mom that's jumping in to pick him up, to say it's too hard. Even when a dad says to a boy in maybe a gruffer voice or something like, you're fine. The mom's like, he's not fine. Right then.
Yeah.
You are teaching that kid, okay, they're not on the same page. What dad said was not okay. I'm going to go to mom because I get cuddled and snuggled, especially when they're little. I get all this toxic empathy that's like just bubble wrapping this little boy. And that is not what is supposed to be happening. The dad might be a little harder and be like, get up. And the mom should probably just keep her mouth shut. Be like, yep, go ahead and get up, buddy. And the mom has got to back the husband's play.
She's looking at a boy. We're looking at a man.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm trying to prepare him for life, and you're trying to keep him safe. And those are both good impulses. But the one you have to shift.
Okay. I'm not paying for them. Okay, but I asked them to come, and they said they will come with us. And I said, you asked them to come, not me. Okay, but I asked them to come, and I said my man got money. Like, okay, I got money, but I'm not paying for your friends. They are not my friends. Okay, but now I look like a liar. I look like I'm lying. That's not my fault, though. That's not my fault. Because Misha, she got a man. Her man can pay for hers. Tell her to send her some money. No, I said you gonna do it though. I said no man coming. I want you to be there, but you don't got it. You broke? No, yes, I'm broke. I'm broke. No, I'm broke. No, you not though. You not though. But you can go spend money on Balenciaga artists. But I asked you to do something for me. You can't do it. I'm doing it for you. I'll pay for you, but not your friends. And I don't even like Keisha because Keisha talk extremely too much. Keisha don't talk too much. Every single time we argue, Keisha talking about that's why you shouldn't be with him. And then she always trying to get you to cheat on me. No, I'm not messing with Keisha. Okay, because maybe you should stop arguing. It ain't about that right now. Like, no, I need you to pay for them just this one time, like for real. I'll pay for you, but not your friends. Bro, you broke. Simple. You acting broke right now. Okay. You acting real broke. Go find a rich man. Go find a rich man. I don't understand. Like, you acting broke and it's irritating. Okay. Like, literally.
And the response that he had is the exact response that I would love for all men to start using. Yes, I am broke. As a matter of fact, yes, I am. I don't have any money. None for you. All of that shame, all of those insults, all of that guilt that you're trying to heap on top of me, it's not going to work. I don't have the money. I'm not going to have the money. Well, you need to get your weight up. You need to be a real man. You need to be more of an alpha. You need to work more hours. I'm not about to stress myself out to be whatever you need me to be for your friends. I'm not in a relationship with your friends. They're not going home with me. You are. And the sooner you figure it out, the faster you figure it out, the better off we will be. I don't have no kids. And even if I do have kids, they're not mine. So no, I'm not going to be paying for that. I'm not going to be doing that. If they got men, have their men take care of them. It's not a charity. I'm not sitting up here, United Way, Salvation Army, Goodwill. This ain't none of that. Goodwill don't even give stuff away like that. Goodwill, at least in my area, they be charged. they fool around and charge you darn near the same price or more than the original item in new condition. So no, there's no charity going on here.
This
With your friends, they're not going home with me. You are.
I'm not
And the
good.
sooner you figure it out, the faster you figure it out, the better off we will be.
I'm not charity.
I don't have no kids. And even if I do have kids, they not mine. So no, I'm not going to be paying for that. I'm not going to be doing that. If they got men, have their men take care of them. I'm not, it's not a charity. I'm not sitting up here, United Way, Salvation Army, Goodwill. This ain't none of that. Goodwill don't even give stuff away like that. They Goodwill, at least in my area, they be charged. They fool around and charge you darn near the same price or more than the original item in new condition. So no, there's no charity going on here.
This episode is for women. I know it's so easy to feel discouraged by all of the unfair that we have to deal with when it comes to double standards, misogyny, power imbalances, all of that. There are hard times in life where obviously I could sit and think, damn, this would never happen to a man. Oh, damn, if I had a like, would I be further? Would I be treated different? All of it. As women, we are up against the biggest uphill battle. We are not all of the things that a lot of men think we are and want us to be.
Your success comes from having a podcast where every single one of your guests is just someone talking about how much they want to cheat on their husband. You've demonstrated exactly why we're called the land of opportunity, because you used your opportunity to make a podcast for moms who accidentally burned the lasagna on a Sunday night because they were too busy fantasizing about cheating on their husband of 20 years with their Pilates instructor. And that's how you make money. More than 300 times the average man. More than 99% of the globe. So I'm not really understanding this angle that you people like to take as if you're being held down. If anything, I'd say it's quite the opposite. You're doing the bare minimum. So imagine what women who are actually talented could do. But word on the street is she has the most listened to podcast by women in the world. So if you genuinely take advice from people like this, who are the top 0.01% of the world, who are feeding you victimhood because they'll say anything to keep themselves at the top and keep you on depression pills, and they laugh in your face because you fall for it every time. If they
want you to be what? Victims in the hood. Oh, I love it. Right? How many victims are there in the hood or grotto? How many men were raised up in a brothel or a whorehouse? Maybe their mother was a prostitute. Due to corporations, corporate whorism is a great concept I come up with by myself. I'm like, these smart people are suffering from corporate whorism and they're selling their assholes out for $1. Imagine that one. Prostitution on a whole new level, gentlemen. Internet intimacy agents with OnlyFans pages where they twerk and shake their booty and show you their nipples, and they make more booty than you will in a year, in a day. It's amazing, right? Some of these people are crazy. Right? We learn from the morals and ethics and principles of today's good people that prostitution is the noblest and oldest profession in the union. Up next is the union between man and woman. When they cried out, "Come you." Fun way of looking at things. How many unions are there? Church union, state, join the union. Mexico, want to join the union? Canada, you want to join the union? Mom, Dad, you want to join the union with me? Teachers in the union, nurses in the union, truckers in the union. Garbage man's got a union. Pilots have got a union.
The city bus.
Bus drivers are in a union. How many unions are there? What if all they wanted you all to do is join the union? Funny way of looking at
These
things.
are your idols, then maybe you can't handle success anyway.
United States.
I asked a bunch of girls, when was the last time a man approached you at a bar and started talking to you? And I thought this was just me thing, but they were all like, no, it hasn't happened in, I can't even tell you how long, like before COVID. And I thought that was a me experience. I was like, okay, maybe I give off like a standoffish vibe. I don't know. I don't think so. But no, they all agreed. They're like, I can't tell you the last time a man tried to talk to me at a bar. A man tried to offer to buy me a drink. Do men still do that? Men, can you weigh in? And I don't even need the drink, but like the last time, and I'll go up and talk to guys, but like can someone explain?
Ladies keep asking this, but when are you going to realize that there are consequences to your words and actions? It's because men would rather keep to themselves than to be called a creep, or at the very least, be publicly embarrassed, or at worst, be accused of something. A lot of women do not realize that because of social media, a lot of young men believe that women despise them. Between the 4B movement, the it's all men until no men, and picking the bear over the man, because of this, most of them assume that women genuinely want nothing to do with them.
I was rejected by a matchmaker this week. You wouldn't be able to work with me. I'm very, very type A, organized. I like to be the leader. I also told her I was looking for a man who was also a leader because I don't want to always be the leader, believe it or not. I told her I was looking for someone that was at or above the same income level as me, driven, who is ambitious, who is ready for a long-term relationship and ready to get married. She may have actually picked up on the fact that I'm a little high-strung. I'm not like a stressed out or anxious person. I'm just high energy or type A. This is who I am. And she was asking me, do I meditate? No. Do I journal? No. I said I could never really be with a beta type man. I specifically used the word doormat. I said I would chew them up and spit them out. And her response was, well, I married that type of man. She was saying that, men really like a soft woman, and I should try some of these vision board, journaling, meditating type of things. She essentially said that I am not ready for her type of services because I have too much work to do. My walls are too high and I'm not ready for a long-term committed relationship at the ripe age of 38, where I've been in therapy for 10 plus years. She also said that I need to soften a little bit. And men like a softer woman. Essentially, I spent $350 to meet with this woman, have her tell me I am not worthy of love as I am, but the fact that I need to change in order to be worthy of love and partnership. We shouldn't be pushing on these narratives that people are not worthy as they are. And essentially telling women that the type of woman they are isn't worthy of love. That is a narrative that should not be given to anyone, or is dangerous commentary. And the fact that she said this to my face had some audacity.
The part that she's not considering is that matchmaker is also hired by men. So she's listening to what men want, which is why she's giving the feedback that she's giving. But this reaction from a woman is exactly what a lot of men are experiencing in the dating world. There's just so much resistance from women these days to self-reflect and potentially change a little bit. It is okay to change yourself in order to improve yourself. It does not mean that you're not worthy of love currently. You are. Everyone is. It's just a matter of, are you willing to make yourself a better partner to fit into a relationship?
Are you ready?
Of course.
Well, I'm gonna head up.
Feminists may have won the fight, but they have lost the war.
Eternal struggle where it's like, I want my husband to be the provider, make all the money, pay all the bills, do the adulting things, fix everything around the house, take care of my car, take the trash out.
But you want to do nothing and be a trophy wife. Shocker.
Make all the plans, handle our finances. So basically do everything while I just lie around and like only do things when I feel like doing them.
Good Lord. That's the world we live in, bro. Women want to be, this is why I say women are children. Now, some of the ladies that watch the channel, I'm not talking about y'all. I love the ladies that watch the Levi Nick show. I appreciate y'all. But in a general sense, sorry, I got this frog in my throat that's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Oh my God, I'm over here dying. Loki, help. But women want to be children. They want to sit around. They want to do nothing. And then they want the man to be everything. And then the thing is, what's really sad is they still end up leaving these men.
Do you ladies believe that chivalry is dead?
Yes, and you killed it.
Because I just had two things happen to me, and it's confirmed for me that chivalry is dead. I don't know if it's the day and age that we're living
Well, also, chivalry is dead to beat women. You know what I mean? Shots fired! Ain't nobody trying to be chivalrous to you. Baby girl, you every day of 50. You got sunspots on your chest. I would see you in a chivalrous situation and just go, whoop-de-doo. Whatever.
And or people just don't give a shit. But yesterday, I was about to leave a building, and there was a man in front of me, and we were practically walking side by side. So he knew I was behind him, yet he didn't hold the door for me. He literally had the door slam in my face.
Because you're a strong, independent woman that doesn't need a man. That's the thing. You have shamed men so much in being chivalrous that we said, no, we're good. How you going to ask for something, and then when you get it, be mad, huh?
Number one. Number two, today I was getting on an elevator and there was a man standing in the elevator. And since I got on the elevator after he did, he was standing in the back and I was standing in front of him. Anyways, we get to the ground floor and I'm about to exit since I'm in front of him. And what does he do? He scoots his body in front of me to let himself off the elevator first. Didn't even occur to him to allow me to exit before him. Not only because I'm a
baby girl, who is you? You might be somebody's grandma. Whoop-de-doo. Why would I be worried about you? Have a man.
Woman, but because I was naturally in front of him, I should have exited first. Those two things have confirmed for me that chivalry is dead. Just no human decency nowadays.
Equal. Wow. I love it. Shame all men. That's why I'm like, I'm okay with shaming y'all. You want to talk about men like this? I stand up for men.
Hey, this one's for the men. Can we please, for the love of all things holy, bring back old-fashioned chivalry? Can we please bring back...
Have you ever noticed this, chat? It's always these old ladies with crow's feet. Old saggy faces. Mole.
Fucking funny.
Why are y'all the ones worried about chivalry? Y'all used to have it. Y'all used to have pick of the litter. Now y'all mad that you ain't got nothing because men don't really want to be chivalrous to you old ladies. No offense to old ladies. I love my mom to pieces. And I know my audience is mainly older. But these types of women, the ones that are complaining about this online, are the problem.
Something as simple as opening a door for somebody? When you see somebody carrying a box through the door, struggling, hurts her hand because she's struggling not to drop this box, and you're just standing there, staring, not helping? What is this? What is this? Men, listen, we need to do...
This is the modern day that you asked for, baby girl. You begged for equality. Begged and begged and begged. I'm a strong, independent woman that doesn't need a man. And the thing is men have ears and we listen.
Like chivalry is dead because why did I go to this store and me and this guy, where I'm standing on one side of the door, he's standing on the other side of the door. And we kind of were contemplating for a second because I was like, okay, is he coming out? I'm about to go in. Like, what's the deal? And so he literally waits for me to open the door so that he could walk through. And I was just a little...
because men are the prize. Better open that door for me, Rebecca.
Confused because I was like, I'm the lady. Like, whatever happened to ladies first? Like, I'm confused. And he didn't even say thank you. Like, that's so rude.
Whoa. How do I know you're a lady?
Gotcha, bitch.
I'm not going to assume your gender. I'm not going to be a bigot. You may be a man.
But I just feel like chivalry is dead. I feel like a lot of men nowadays, and there's a lot of men that are very chivalrous, but like, I don't know, it's just not giving.
It's just not giving, you know, it's not giving. It's not giving fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, and submissive. Like that. It's not giving that. It's giving combative and masculine and entitled. That's what it's giving.
When you're out in the wild, you either have bare skin or you have no skin. You see, unlike regular old hoodies, the bearskin hoodie is actually built for the outdoors, and it can stand up to the toughest conditions. Some folks come out here, they've spent thousands on gear that looks great on Instagram, but in...
I'm being very dramatic right now, but chivalry is so freaking dead. Why did I just get off the bus? Yes, I take the bus in university. Anyways, why did I just take the bus and I went to go to the bus. 6 men have just walked past me. One man out of 7 men has let me go first. What the hell is that? This is not about equality. This is about chivalry. Chivalry is dead. And these are grown men, by the way. These are not just little boys I don't know. So if you're grown and you don't do it, who will you teach? Your sons are going to be 10 times worse. And it's the grown men that's producing sassy little boys. Bloody hell, all the 14-year-olds I know are sassy as hell.
Women don't. I love it. It's just the pure shame. Women really think that shaming men is what gets them to change. That's not it. Chivalry. Here's what chivalry actually means, right? The medieval knightly system with its religious, moral, and social code. The combination of qualities expected of an ideal knight, especially courage, honor, courtesy, justice, and a readiness to help the weak. So that means you ladies are admitting that you're weak. You're not strong, huh? You're just a weak little woman, huh? Courteous behavior, especially that of a man towards a woman. The relations with women were models of chivalry and restraint. Use over time for chivalry. Look at this. This is crazy. If it says, let's see if I can't do this right. So in 1800, chivalry, and then it's just declined. It's just declined. In the 1950s, we ain't talking about it. And what's crazy is right after the 1950s and the 1960s, that's where the feminism came around. Isn't that weird? Where you guys really asked for it and then you got it? Kind of crazy, right? I don't feel bad for these women. These women shame men online. These women shut men down online all the time. Men try to approach them like, you, no, not you. I don't feel bad for these women.
Chivalry is so dead, and I might be being a princess right now. I might be in the wrong, so correct me if I am. I'm open to criticism and feedback.
Okay, because I was about to say, if you're open to it, baby girl, might be an open and shut case.
But for my last 2 gym sessions, I've been at the gym, and like a few days ago, I was carrying a 20-kilo barbell weight. Anyway, and there was a boy next to me. He was probably like my age. He was carrying a 5, explained to me why he made me wait to put away my 20-kilo weight as a 5'1" female. As a 5'1" female. Let me be clear. And he was a tall guy, and he was carrying a 5-kilo weight. He made me wait. Now, you know what? I thought maybe it's a once-off. Maybe this isn't a thing until today. Today, I was at the gym, and I was carrying a 20-kilo dumbbell again. And there was an old man. When I say old, I mean like 50-something maybe. Like old enough to know what chivalry is. You know, raised on it. He was carrying 12-kilo dumbbells. I had to wait because he wanted to go past to carry the 12-kilo dumbbells.
When you're always looking to be the victim of something, you're always going to find it. What you focus on happens. There's a big life lesson here. If you're always thinking you're going to be the victim of something, more than likely it's always going to happen, bro. It's always going to happen. Nobody forced you to go to the gym. Nobody forced you to pick up the 12 kilo, 20 kilo. Who cares? This guy, if anything, you should be thanking him. He's giving you a little bit of an extra workout. Look at it that way, Rebecca. You know, he's letting you hold on to that a little bit longer. Here, hold that weight. The reason men have stopped doing this is because you've asked for it. How are you going to ask for something and then get it and then be mad? It makes no sense. Y'all said y'all were strong and independent. You don't need us. Cool. We're going to treat you like the boys. And with the boys, I ain't helping them out unless they ask for help. You want to ask for help? Cool, I'll help you out. But I'm not going to go out of my way to just help a bunch of other people. Ask for help. Chris Rock has something in his stand-up. I think it's Chris Rock, where he goes, your car's broken down on the side of the street, or let's say somebody's car's broken down on the side of the street and they're just waving to get help. People probably aren't going to help them. But if somebody sees you with your car broke down and you're pushing your car the best you can, people are going to help you because you're helping yourself. This victim mindset is awful. That's why I say stop being the victim of your circumstances and start being the hero of your opportunities. This victim mindset, she's just looking for something to be mad about. She's just looking for something to be the victim of. Well, they're making me hold these weights and I just don't know. And it's just so bad. Stop looking for that stuff. Start working out at home. Then you don't have to wait for anybody. Go to another gym. Go at a different time. Figure out a way where you don't have to work out around other people. So many other things as far as if this situation's really grinding your gears, you could get away from this situation, but yet now you're going back. And this is going to be a common theme for her. She's going to keep looking for this. Are they going to make me wait? ladies, you've told us to treat you equally. Y'all have asked for equality. So are you begged for it? You've pleaded for it. You've called us bigots. Now you're getting it. Now you're mad.
Anyway, I don't know if I'm being a princess right now, but something about that just rubs me the wrong way because I don't know. I'm not trying to play I'm a girl card, but I kind of am because, like, I feel like that's just common decency.
See, they're always trying to play the girl card when it benefits them. They always want the double standards when they benefit them, but not when it doesn't benefit them. So, like, women want to make sure that men go down with the Titanic. Like, they want to make sure that, I don't want to, no, women and children on the boats, men can stay. We don't want equality on that. When it comes to paying for dates, well, you know, we don't need equality in that. You guys can pay for the dates. When it comes to doing the picking up and the driving, we don't really want equality with that. But when it comes to setting down weights, we don't want equality. You know, we want to be able to put our weights. Like, come on, you can't just pick and choose. You're either feminine or you're not. This is why it grinds my gears so much when women talk about, for the right guy, I'll be feminine. For the right guy, I'll really step into my feminine, my divine feminine. You guys ever heard that? It's so stupid. Stupid. Akash's wife talked about that, Jasleen. Apparently, they're dropping a new video. I'm hopefully going to be able to see it on Andrew Schultz's Flagrant podcast or whatever. But femininity is not something you can turn on and off. Chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree. It's not something that just turns on. It's a personality trait that you have embedded inside of you or you don't. It's just like a man. You're either masculine or you're not. I don't think you can turn on femininity. So many women like to barter with their femininity and say, well, for the right guy, I'll be feminine. But until then, he's got to earn it. Do you realize how dumb that sounds? Why would I want to have to earn something that is not innate within you? I want something that comes right out the box. Women that are feminine, they're born that way. They're feminine. You don't have to teach that. It's femininity. It's instinctual. It's biological. Just like men, we're masculine. It's biological. It's instinctual. That's why you see a lot of young boys who are very flagrant, we'll just say that, colorful, because they're raised by single mothers. And they're...
Amazon is overcharging you, but I can show you how to avoid it. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch this first.
Their benchmark for how they should act is how their mother should act. You know, they always make fun of some boys. Yeah, he was hugged a lot as a boy. He sure was hugged a lot as a kid, you know. His mama hugged him too much, you know. And I was one of those kids. I was hugged a lot. I was raised by a single mom. I had a lot of feminine traits. Not as far as like I walked feminine or maybe talked feminine, but I was really into clothes. When you're younger, bro, at least for me, people would call me gay all the time for wearing about what I was wearing. Because guys in my small town in Paris, Texas, boots, Wranglers, t-shirt, cowboy hat, you know, and I was wearing like, you know, double monk straps and fitted jeans and scarves. Like, bro, I was getting called gay all the time, but I didn't care. Because I liked to dress that way. I was very fashion forward. I liked fashion. I was on Lookbook way back in the day. I was always comfortable with myself because I had so much shame at home that I was like, there ain't nothing you're about to say to me that's going to bother me because I've already had to live with the shame of being at home. Or I got roaches in my crib. I got rats in my house. We pulled the stove out from the wall one time. Roaches flooded everywhere. I was like, bro, call me whatever you want to call me because I already know I'm broke when I get back to the crib. But when I'm here, when I'm in school, I'm going to look good. I'm going to feel good. And then eventually, as I got older, women started liking that. Like, oh, it's like the performative male, right? Oh, he can dress. And dudes will call me gay, but I'm like, yeah, but I'm pulling your girl. So it's like, you're going to be you're going to try to clown me, but the girls like it. They like that I know how to dress. They like that I smell good. They like that I look good, that I do my hair. My nails are nice. I remember girls asking me fashion tips in high school. How do you do this? How do you do that? I wore jewelry, wore watches. That was something that a lot of guys in Paris, Texas was not doing.
But maybe I'm being a princess. I'm open to constructive criticism here. But, like, it's not like their weights were heavier. They were literally lighter than mine. And they were making me wait. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm out of pocket. I don't think I am, but maybe I am.
No, I mean, you're being a little bit, you know, of a whiny little princess. And also, you're looking for it. Anything you look for, you'll find, right? If you're looking to be the victim of something, you're always going to find it.
Something that most women aren't ready to hear. Modern feminism killed chivalry. Modern feminism has shifted from seeking equality to promoting superiority and resentment towards men, framing men as oppressors rather than partners and equals. With the birth of modern feminism, there came the birth of the girl boss, I don't need a man. Chivalry was never meant to make women look weak. It was made to create a culture of mutual respect where men acted honorably towards women and acknowledged.
True, but I also think that women are a protected class. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. I think we should protect women, right? They're not as physically strong as men. And there's a lot of dudes out there and we've met a lot of guys. I'm not saying all guys are. There's a lot of guys out there that are kind of sexually deviant, very weird. So we should protect women. Women and children are a protected class, and I think it's up to men to do that.
Acknowledge their virtue and grace. Modern feminism, by demanding sameness instead of equality, has blurred those lines. In trying to erase gender differences, it's erased the gestures that celebrate them. The result of this is now we have an entire generation of men who are not willing to honor, pursue, or protect women. We have this entire generation of men who just want to hook up on the first date, who have no respect for women, who don't hold open the door, who don't buy flowers, and it is because of modern feminism.
But I will say, all of those things work. You do all that, a girl will fall in love with you. That was what I used to do. I used to never respect women, never be nice to them, always treat them like they were an option, and women were obsessed with me. So I don't know. It's kind of hard because in one hand, you want to be a nice guy because as guys, we treat each other with respect. If you're one of my boys, I might give you a hard time and roast you and, say your forehead's big and stuff like that, or your eyes are crossed, or, you smell like Fermunda cheese, or, you look like somebody flushed you, things like that. Like, I might roast you a little bit. But when you're a guy talking to a girl, when you're too nice, they put you in the simp category. They put
right. This shall be interesting. This guy here, Andrew Wilson, he reminds me a lot of my brother Caleb. I mean,
welcome to a debate edition of the Whatever podcast, coming to you live from Santa Barbara, California. I'm your host, Brian Atlas. A few quick announcements before the show begins. This podcast is viewer supported, so please consider donating through Streamlabs. That's streamlabs.com/whatever. TTS is $200 and up. There will be no instant TTS. TTS will come in batches at various breaks throughout the debate. You can see the description for all triggers and full details. Without further ado, I'm joined today by Andrew Wilson, host of The Crucible. He is a blood sports debater and political commentator. Also joining us today is Charlie. She received a master's degree in fantasy literature from the University of Glasgow and a BA in English from California State University, Sacramento. She's a political, social commentator and content creator. The topic today is feminism. I want a good, clean debate, no interrupting. I need very good discipline on this. I will allow for some slight interrupting, as is normal in conversation, but excessive or repeated interrupting will first result in a verbal warning, followed by a yellow card, which mutes you for 1 minute or until your opponent yields their time. If this continues, it'll be followed by a red card, which mutes you for 3 minutes until your opponent yields their time. Hopefully that won't be necessary. There are no opening statements, straight to open convo. Let's get it on.
Cool. Okay. I think first we ought to agree on some definitions. So feminism, the prompt was, is feminism good for society? The definition I have here is from the Oxford English Dictionary. Feminism, advocacy of equality of the sexes and the establishment of the political, social, and economic rights of the female sex. Are we in agreement on that?
No.
Okay. What's your definition of feminism?
Feminism is the movement towards egalitarian systems, and the deconstruction and removal of the patriarchy.
Okay.
So it's my belief that feminism cannot operate without an oppressor-oppressed class worldview. And if there's an oppressor class, that oppressor class has to be the patriarchy, because who else could it be?
I think that that's fair, but I do want to, stipulate that, I think that men are also, they also benefit from feminism, and they're also oppressed under patriarchy. Is that
Yeah, I understand. So
Okay.
your definition would include, you don't disagree with my definition. You're just clarifying a position on top of it, which is that you think there is a patriarchy.
Mhm.
It's just that it's also oppressive or beneficial to men as well. Or I'm sorry, oppressive to men as well.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So can we largely agree then that feminism is an egalitarian movement which focuses on equity, egalitarianism, and the removal of patriarchy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then I think we got the definition down there pretty well.
Oh, okay. And then society, I mean, I think this one is pretty obvious, but society, this is from Merriam-Webster, a community, nation, or broad grouping of people having common traditions, institutions, and collective activities and interests. When I say society, what I'm going to be referring to mainly is the United States. I'm going to refer to my country, my nation.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have any issues with that definition.
Ooh, all right. And then I guess, gosh, I really don't want to get into another meta-ethics debate. But
About the word good?
Oh, what is good? Yes, what makes something good?
So when we're talking about good here, why don't we just stick with outcomes which are preferable to most people?
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So outcomes which are preferable to most people for the good. So I understand that you and I have different viewpoints on what good is, but in the good faith of not trying to bog the conversation down into 3 hours of meta-ethical jumping up and down, I'm fine with that too.
Sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I think we have our definitions down pretty well.
Cool. Okay.
So I'll let you open with whatever you want to say.
All right. So I guess we didn't technically have opening statements, so I suppose I will ramble. Feminism is good for society because a society that allows people the freedom to choose the life that they wish is a happier society. I believe that hierarchies divide and weaken us.
Okay. So the crux of your argument for feminism is that it's good because it allows for more choice?
Yes.
Is that the crux? Am I getting that right?
I would say so.
Okay. I don't want to straw man it. So if you want to think about it for a second and make sure that that's what you mean by it, or if there's any addendums that you want to give to it.
I think freedom of choice and egalitarianism.
Freedom of choice and egalitarianism. Okay. All right. Choice, egalitarianism. Now, Charlie, were you an advocate of the C-19 lockdowns?
COVID-19 lockdowns? Yes, I would say so, but my stepfather is diabetic, so I had a personal stake in it because I did not want him to, as a diabetic, he was more at risk.
Can you tell me how that helped with freedom of choice?
How that helped with freedom of choice?
The lockdowns. Because the lockdowns seem to me, so I kind of give you my take. When I think of like a fascist dystopia, I think about things like checkpoints, state mandated garments, state removing media, independent media, in order to have state messaging. I think of those types of things. And those were all the things that I saw during the lockdowns from the side of the leftist progressive and the feminist side. And they all seem to be in pretty good unison there. And it seems like all that did was limit choice. And so I wonder if there's not a contradiction in your worldview where at the same time you love feminism because it expands choice, but at the same time supported lockdowns, which definitely limited them.
I think that if we are going to, consider something being good on the basis of creating the most amount of good possible, I think that...
You mean the most amount of best outcomes possible?
Yes, yes.
Most amount of
best possible outcomes.
Okay.
I do believe that for a specific period of time, it was necessary to have everyone, including government officials, do their best to not spread COVID-19 until we could mitigate the dangers. Okay. I think that in some cases, I understand that many people grew very frustrated very quickly after some time. But I do think that in cases of emergency, when it comes down to freedom of choice, we should have freedom of choice. Unless you are making decisions that would inhibit the freedom of choice that others have.
Isn't that a paradox?
How so?
So isn't this kind of the idea of the paradox of tolerance? We should tolerate everything except intolerance. Everyone has the freedom of choice except to inflict, some type of damage on other people's choices. Isn't it kind of paradoxical? So in other words, I guess the thing that's interesting about this view is that you're telling me that limiting choice is necessary for good outcomes.
I think in very, very, very extreme circumstances, such as a plague.
Well, that's not a plague, right? It's just a virus.
It's a virus,
Yeah.
but I mean, a lot of people were dying.
Very few people total were dying, right?
Well, it was pretty freaky.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly like fat people and really old people who were dying.
I think that even fat people and old people, I would prefer them to not die from viruses if possible.
So how much freedom of mind can you take in order to make sure that that fatty gets to live? How much of my freedom do you get to take to do that? How much of my freedom to walk into a store without wearing my government-sponsored, mandated garment around my face that marks me as acceptable? Does that sound like freedom to you? Or does that sound like some other kind of ism that you guys would normally call it?
I think that if there is an insane infectious disease that, doctors and scientists and professionals don't necessarily understand at the time raging around, I would say that you possibly infecting those around you and putting their lives at risk is, I do think, a time in which, freedom of choice should unfortunately be limited. For instance, it's like, like when someone is checked for weapons, like that is technically removing a freedom of choice if we don't allow someone to enter a building with weapons. But it's good because if they have weapons, they could use it to permanently eliminate someone's freedom of choice.
Yeah, but I guess this is what's interesting to me is that this is your view. Your view is that feminism is good because it expands choice, right? And then in the same breath, you say the COVID-19 lockdowns are good because they limit choice. And so it just seems like limiting choice to you is fine as long as it proves or provides for good outcomes.
Well,
as long as there's good outcomes, we can limit choice.
My rebuttal to that would be the COVID lockdowns were temporary emergency measures. When I talk about feminism giving people freedom of choice, there was a time in this country where women's career options were limited, had limited rights and freedoms, and now they do not. So,
well, why would that matter if the outcomes were better? Because what you're saying to me, what you just got done saying to me is that you're fine with limiting choice as long as it's for the greater good and the outcomes, from your view, are better. The outcomes
temporarily.
Well, if that virus,
limiting of freedom of choice.
So what if that virus had been here for 50 years? Would you have still supported lockdowns if the state officials and experts came out and said that that was still the best way to mitigate the spread of this virus?
I think after 50 years, with all of the technology that we have, if they had not managed to get...
But if they did, would you have supported their mandate for new normal?
No, that's ridiculous.
Why?
Like 50 years, that's a lifetime of limited freedom.
But a year and a half where people can't see their loved ones die, they can't even go to the hospital to see them. And when they can't have any contact with them whatsoever, right? They can't even touch them. People couldn't get medical care for years. They were dying of diabetes and other horrible things because of these lockdowns. You were fine with those things as long as you thought that the greater good was served as far as outcomes go.
My great grandmother passed during the COVID-19 lockdowns in 2020, and my family was able to go see her as she was dying.
That's nice for your family,
Yeah.
but you know that there's many families who are not, depending on the states that they were in, or they would have a contact order where only one person could go in.
That's how they did it. It was one person at a time, which is frankly not ideal. But I think
it's not only not ideal, but you couldn't touch them. They had plastic between you and the person often. Yeah. Depending on the state you were in, they would wall you off with plastic so that you couldn't touch them because of the threat of the contact of the virus. And so the thing is like, that doesn't sound like this freedom of choice society that was designed to assist people. And if you say, well, it's just a temporary measure, we'll just limit your choices temporarily. We don't know what temporarily is. That lasted almost 2 years.
It was a year and a half. So that was fairly temporary.
It's not that temporary. And the amount of damage that it did was incredible. And if another one comes, you'll do it again. And if another one came, you do it again. And if another one came, you do it again.
Given the unpopularity of the lockdowns and the politicization of the lockdowns, I don't think politicians would want to force another lockdown.
Why don't we call lockdowns martial law, right? This medical lockdown was really medical martial law in disguise. COVID propaganda was designed to instill fear in the average person's skull between their left and right ears because of shit they heard on the radio or television. Just a smart observation. Most people only believe what they hear on the television. They don't believe their own line of sight. They don't believe their own eyeballs, pupils. Observe that one. Comment on it now.
I also think that.
But you support them, though. Whether the politician does or not, you support them for the greater good. The idea is it serves the greater good to you. And I guess that's my position too. See, I think that limiting choice can serve the greater good just like you do. I think that limiting choice in many instances serves the greater good. And I think that limiting choice for a lot of people, like I think that limiting women's choices to have abortions, I think that that's good. I think that provides better outcomes for society. I think that limiting women's ability to vote men into wars, I think that that's good for society. Like I think the same thing you think. If we're going with good as outcomes, I think that limiting choice is sometimes necessary for the greater good, just like you do.
So I want to address what you said about war. I assume you're referring to the draft.
No.
Vote men into wars. What do you mean?
That's only one aspect. Well, I'll explain.
Okay.
Do you agree with me that no matter what the circumstances are, it's almost exclusively going to be men who engage in all frontline combat operations in basically any nation on planet Earth?
I think that has historically almost always been the case, with some exceptions. But in this day and age, I do think that boots on the ground is significantly less common.
Like in the Ukraine?
Oh, well, Ukraine's a different beast. We're talking about America. And Ukraine also had women. The women volunteered to fight for Ukraine.
They're not in frontline combat roles. In fact, they were allowed to leave, and the men weren't allowed to leave. The men had to stay, and they were drafted right off the street.
Well, that's terrible. I don't think anyone should be forced to go to war. However, it's also a specific age range of men. I think that when we're talking about war,
hang on, it's up to 60. They're drafting them up to 60 years old.
Gnarly.
But it's common. That's common in a real war.
Mm-hmm.
We just haven't seen one in a long time.
Of course. But when I think about war, I don't think about women voting.
Do you mind if we look that up? Can you look up the max draft age for Ukraine, Brian?
Yeah, Mary, can you look that up?
I believe that it was up to 60 or even higher.
Well, that's horrible. I myself am very anti-war, and I'm very anti-draft. I don't think that anyone should be forced to lay down their life.
But don't you agree with me, though, that it will be the case that if there is warfare in a nation, that it is going to be men who are going to be almost exclusively doing all of the heavy lifting for all frontline combat?
I have the answer if
Okay.
you'd like. So there's a bit of detail on it, but hide that, Mary. The maximum draft age for men in Ukraine is 25, though this age was 27 before April 2024. However, after completing their initial service, men become part of the reserve and can be recalled for mobilization until they reach 55 or 60 for officers.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's also a system that we have in the U.S. My
Yes.
stepfather was Air Force Reserves
Sure.
until he got older.
Sure. And if they need to, they'll raise the age more.
But there's also women who are, in the reserves in the U.S.
Yes, but they're not. The problem is with the idea of recall, even if you recall women from the reserves at 55 years old, they're not going to be doing any frontline combat.
I do believe in 2014, women were allowed to be in frontline combat roles. I also,
Even if we grant that some women will be in frontline combat roles,
it will be majority men.
it's
correct.
always going to be. Now, not when we say majority, I don't want to get this confused as to think it's
Like
51%.
90%.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Or higher.
Maybe higher.
Much
Yes,
higher,
correct.
actually. Probably
Correct.
like 97,
Yeah.
98, 99, probably.
Absolutely.
Okay,
But
so-
also the nature of warfare has changed. I think mostly boots on the ground is gone. I would like to point out,
Well-
however, that it is only a specific kind of men that are being sent to do these things. It's men without the means to wiggle their way out of the draft. It is old rich men sending young working class men to die.
Unless you need them. The thing is like, unless you need them. So in Germany, when the Soviets were invading Berlin and after, they took every able-bodied man right off the street in order to fight. I mean, that's what they did. And of course, women were told to flee. Because they become a hindrance. And so I guess all I really need here is just the agreement that it will always be the case, no matter what, that it'll be heavily 98% or so of men who will be engaged in frontline combat operations. If that's the case, then they have the most to risk when it comes to warfare. And if it is the case that they have the most to risk during warfare, and it is, I think that it's a fundamental unfairness in society, not just an unfairness, but a great injustice that women are allowed to vote on policies for warfare that they then don't have to go fight. As much as it upsets me that Congress can make laws and exempt itself from them, it's just as much of an injustice to me that Congress can do that as it is an injustice to me that women can do this to men.
I mean, so would you say that only able-bodied men under a certain age should be allowed to vote?
No, because of what's called fighting potential. So the idea is just this. It may be extraordinarily rare that you ever need to get somebody who's disabled or very old or very infirm to fight in frontline combat. But if you do, it's going to be men. And the potential remains for men, and the potential is not there for women.
Do you think that men with significant disabilities would be better frontline combatants than women?
It depends on how severe the disability is.
All right, I guess like
it depends on how severe the disability is. But I still think that even if you have moderate disabilities, then they're probably still going to be better off. You're still probably going to be better off with men with moderate disabilities than you would women. Yes.
Is it not true that I forget which kind of shooting competitions it is, but
no, women are not better at shooting than men.
No, but it's about equal.
Yeah, well,
And also,
hang on.
I would say that like frontline soldiers, what is the? I don't know if you could look this up, Brian, but how many bullets for how many people killed? It's usually like an average of like hundreds of bullets shot.
Thousands.
Thousands shot. Before one person is
it's
killed?
tens of thousands.
So it almost seems like, I think if a woman is, meets certain requirements.
They don't meet the requirements because you have to carry the ammo and you have to carry the equipment and you have to carry
a woman strong enough to carry those things.
Then why is it that we can't ever seem to get a woman who can be a Navy SEAL? We never had one.
Well, that's some pretty extreme. Most men cannot become Navy SEALs.
I agree, but only
Most men.
But only men can. And when it comes to the idea of frontline combat, they have to lower. So women can be in the infantry, that's true, but they get lower standards. Women get lower standards in the military than men get.
Well, I think if you are, polling for whoever in defense of your country or homeland, you would take anyone who might
But
have
even
slightly lower standards.
I guess even if I grant that we could have some very small percentage of women who are capable of doing this, and maybe we even field them, because the vast majority, the overwhelming majority, don't even have the potential. They don't even have the potential to do this. It seems to me that it's not just that women can vote to send their men off to fight by a simple majority. Just by a simple majority, they could do this by electing the politicians in office that have their pro-war stance, perhaps. And that's a fundamental unfairness in society. And it seems very obvious to me that that's very fundamentally unfair.
But women are in the military, and
in support roles.
The standards.
No, they pass standards which are lesser than men's standards. In fact, I can have Brian pull it up if you'd like to see it, but they have a different.
Sure, yeah, no, I'm fully aware of that, but they're still competent, and support roles are still important.
I agree.
And also, you don't have to be on the front lines to be killing people. My aunt flew helicopters in the Army, and she was, participating in killing people.
Well, there's another reason why you don't want them there. It's not just because of the capability of combat.
Is it resources?
Nope. It's because your enemy will capture them and they'll essay them, and then they'll send them home pregnant in order to demoralize your population, which is what the Soviets did. So, and it's what they would do in Afghanistan. And unfortunately, many times it did happen where they captured American female soldiers, and that's exactly what they did. They essayed them. And
wartime rape is absolutely a thing, which is why
let's not say the R word because it's
my
YouTube.
bad.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
my
good.
bad. Sorry.
You're good.
I forgot we have to TikTok policies.
So the problem is not just one-fold, right? It's threefold. Problem one, 98%, and that's being very charitable, of women would never even have the potential to be involved in a war that they could vote for. And
I strongly disagree with that.
Secondly, well, you could disagree, but the historic standard disagrees with you. And then secondly, the idea that women would be particularly useful in combat situations where enemy soldiers could have access to them, knowing that they would be prime loot. They're loot. That's what they would be. They would become booty, right?
Do you think men don't get essayed in wartime?
Not like women. Not even close. It's not even in the same universe.
I think the idea of them being booty or loot is kind of ridiculous. But again,
why?
Even if I grant you all of this,
do you think they're like these? Do you think like the ugly mud catfish over in the Middle East, they get themselves some prime real estate of a nice, big-breasted blonde chick? You think that that's not like prime real estate to those guys?
Do you think there's no men out there in the Middle East that are into men and wouldn't be delighted?
You know what happens when you're in the Middle East and you're into men? Do you know what happens in the Middle East when you're into men? There's a special thing they do called fucking kill you.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Absolutely, yes. But that is why essaying prisoners would be ideal, because it can be an excuse to demoralize. There are very much.
And so what would you do? Like, let's pretend Charlie is the enemy commander.
Okay.
You're the enemy commander, and your orders are to win the war by any means necessary against your enemies. And you found out that your enemies were fielding female soldiers in frontline combat where your troops had access to them. Now, what would be more diabolical or easier than creating special units whose entire job was to just capture these enemy soldiers, these female enemy soldiers, essay them, record their screams and send it to the enemy, and then release them pregnant with their babies?
How did that work out for Japan?
It worked out fine. They went through Nanking, and they absolutely did that. It was called the raping of Nanking.
Yes,
that's what it was called.
I'm fully aware of what it was called, but I mean,
it worked out well for them. They completely demoralized the Chinese. They completely subjugated them under their boots.
And then we dropped 2 atom bombs on them, and now they are essentially.
Did China do that?
State. No.
No.
But their ally,
the
U.S., did it.
And was the U.S. fielding women in frontline combats in Japan? No.
They had nurses, but
no. But the Chinese, right? They were getting anybody they could. And the thing is funny is the first thing the Japanese did as part of their demoralization campaign was essay all the women and make sure that, and one of the big pieces of propaganda that they had was all of your future children are now our future children.
Yeah, it's horrible and awful. But again, look at where China is now and look at where Japan is now. People joke about the Chinese century, but I think China is a very powerful world superpower, and Japan is an American vassal state, essentially. So I think at the end of the day,
I would argue that more people would want to live in Japan than they would in China.
that doesn't change the fact that China is much more powerful than Japan.
Yeah, but it's also got way more people than Japan and a much larger land mass and way more access to resources. And we allowed them to continue to have an offensive military post-war. In Japan, we took that away from.
Well, we didn't have the option to take that away from China. Because they were our ally.
Well, we did right at the start have the option to, but we didn't. But the point is that the Japanese have not been allowed to have a military. We don't allow them to have an offensive one.
Yeah, because of what happened last time.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is that, again, that's the second reason. That's the second. And then you have the third reason, which is that they can't meet the minimum requirements which would be necessary for us to even fill them if we wanted to in those situations, because they would get killed so quickly. I mean, they would just get killed so quickly.
I don't know if you have a good idea of what, no offense, but like I feel like maybe your idea of like what war looks like now is like dudes charging at each other with guns, and that's not really how it works.
What do you think war looks like right now, Charlie?
It's drone warfare at the moment. We don't really do boots on the ground anymore.
Is there a lot of drone warfare going on in Russia and Ukraine?
It's also guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, there's a lot of Russia.
I'm actually not super familiar with Russia and Ukraine, but I know there's a lot of tanks, and they're blowing people up.
They've mostly been focusing on drone combat. I'm going to tell you something really interesting that happened.
Okay.
So the Russians brought back the Dragoon. The actual Dragoon, and instead of using a horse, they use a motorcycle instead to outpace drones, and they mount AK-47 machine guns to the front of their motorcycles, and they fly past the enemy and they mow them down.
A woman couldn't do that?
No, she couldn't.
A woman
for the most part,
ride a motorcycle and shoot.
No, I don't think she could. I think that I don't think you really understand the physical weight requirements that are necessary to both control a motorcycle, have a heavy machine gun mounted to it that you're also firing, and carry the requisite equipment to do this. I don't think
it would
you
be
have
tied to the motorcycle.
That doesn't make it less unwieldy. Very hard to wield. It requires physical strength to do these things.
Yes, I've shot guns before. It's just I'm unclear how a gun being mounted on a motorcycle, you're not having to carry it. You are just riding the motorcycle.
You have to control the motorcycle with your muscles.
Yes, I know how motorcycles work.
And the heavier the front end of them is, the more you have to use the muscles to steer it.
These probably aren't American.
And by the way, what do you think the 110-pound woman's going to do? Kick up the kickstand and keep it up, or do you think she's going to fall over with it?
They wouldn't be recruiting
But it's not just that. They are in Russia and Ukraine charging at each other with machine guns. They are on the ground fighting, just like it's World War II looking combat more than anything else. It's infantry-based warfare all over the Ukraine. Why do you think so many people are dying? Why do you think they're dying so much? Because they're engaged in frontline infantry combat day in and day out.
Is it not a lot of guerrilla stuff?
Yes, of course. Guerrilla fighting is always part of warfare.
Right. I feel like that is what the majority of warfare is now. Bombs, drones, guerrilla stuff.
War will always come down after you get past the technological barriers. So if you have a first world nation attacking a third world nation, sure. Right, they're left with guerrilla warfare. We use massive amounts of technology to level major cities, things like this, and then send in an occupying force. They fight the occupying force with guerrilla warfare. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to first world nations, that's different. They have technology. They're going to blow the hell out of each other, right? But then when they blow up each other's technology, it still comes down to infantry-based combat. Why do you think they train people to be infantrymen? because it still comes down to that. And there's lots of places you can't get technology. You can't always get technology in the deep, dark jungle or in the high deserts or in the snow-covered
That is true.
fields
Ukraine
and plains.
is low on, I think they're pulling very, very old.
It's not just that. Think about here in the United States. You're going to get a tank through Michigan in the wintertime? I don't think so. I don't think so. So the thing is like, yeah, it requires the requisite is a lot of strength, regardless of technology. And even utilizing technology requires a lot of physical strength. Tanks require loading from shells, carrying tons of shells, carrying tons of equipment and ammunition. And not only that, you have to be more resistant to the elements. And men are more resistant to elements than women are. And so they have kind of everything going for them. They're the super soldier, and they were designed basically to be super soldiers, right? That's I
mean, I think you might have an exaggerated idea of what the average starving Russian farm boy might look like.
I think
a lot of the boys recruited into, or drafted into warfare over to, across.
How do you think you would do in a physical fist fight with the average Russian starving farm boy?
Depends on how tall he is. I have beaten. Well, it's been a long time since I've.
I mean, honestly, out of just any random Russian farm boy who's starving that you can think of, who you came across, right? How well do you think you would do if you tangled up with him in a physical conflict?
Physical fist fighting? Not well.
Not well.
But if I had a gun, I think we'd be about equal.
Yeah, but
or a knife or a spear or swords.
But if he had a gun, I don't think you would be equal. I think that starving peasant who's male is still going to be 10 times more dangerous than you with a gun.
With a gun?
Yes, he's fat. He's going to be faster.
Again,
he's going to be stronger. He's going to have better predatory instincts.
They are equal when it comes to using guns.
You're thinking about this the wrong way.
Too much Hollywood.
If I set you up right here, okay, and lay you down on a table and you have a rifle and the rifle's been sighted in, and all you have to do is aim it at the target and pull the trigger, you can do that equal to a man. Yeah, totally agree. Sure. But if you have to carry that fucking thing for 60 miles and all the ammunition that comes with it and all of the equipment that you need to sustain yourself to survive in any sort of environment with you, you're going to have a huge problem. And the reason you're going to have a huge problem is because you don't have to just carry your equipment. You got to carry the guy's equipment next to you as well for the things that they're doing. And men are on average 50 to 75% stronger than women. That's why they're capable of doing that. Women aren't.
Well, the me of right now is perhaps, yes, not equipped to do that. But there are certainly women who, carry very heavy loads when they camp or hike.
I agree.
And travel far distances. Sure.
There are some women
that a woman who hunts regularly would be much, better equipped in that sort of scenario than a teenage boy who's never picked up a gun in his life.
No, because it's the strength differential means so much.
Not with a gun.
With a gun, it means a lot. You have to. Okay. I wish we had one here so I could demonstrate this for you, but I think I can at least express it for you. Okay. Do you agree with me that ammunition weighs a lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
It weighs a lot.
It weighs a lot. Okay. How would you feel about carrying 400 rounds of it on your chest?
I would hate it.
Yeah, along with full magazines and the rifle itself and your cleaning kit with it and your food for the day, your basic mess kit, your basic mess gear, your sleeping bag, everything else that you have. And then at the end of a long hike, you're expected to fight.
I wonder, this is kind of an insane proposition. I do want to go back to, again, women during warfare because, let me actually not make I was going to say, my goodness, if we really needed to, we could just start giving women testosterone if we needed to get them as buff as the average man.
Yeah, but you see the whole...
If we were desperate for it, we could start giving women tea and they would get pretty jacked pretty quickly.
Yeah, do you see the issue there, though? That should be pretty obvious right away.
It would be forcing someone to take HRT.
No, that's not the issue. The issue is why wouldn't you just give it to the men?
Because now testosterone in men just turns into estrogen, which is why people looking to transition to, have more male secondary sex characteristics, they have to.
Hey, John, like the title? Women. Realizing the chemical imbalance. Too much estrogen in men Women, ease off that testosterone, huh? That's the headline. Bang, bang! Holy fucking shit. Live from Bangtown. Get your bang on. Hey, question for the peanuts in the gallery. How many people are angry right now? How many people are suffering PTSD because of this live stream? Are you angry with me? Disappointed? Do you want to cry? You need a tissue? Finding out you got issues? Down. Right, that's fucking funny as shit, isn't it, John? I feel like kin to the man on the side though, there, that Andrew fella. Him and I's on the same frequency almost. It's fucking amazing. Hey, Jonathan, we're in a frequency war. Do you like mine? You know what it's causing? Interference patterns, light noise and friction, oscillation. Just the facts, ma'am. We don't want any of your emotions here. We don't want any of your bright ideas or your stupidity. Leave it at your mama's house. Hold down! Hey, look, Jonathan, another hoe down. Bang, bang! Their ship's fucking sinking, Captain. Hold down! Anyone like square dancing or box trotting? You like hiding in cubby holes or cubicles? You want to get put in a timeout box off the ice in an office? Great question, right? Think outside the box, everybody. You like boxers boxing in a box? You like your lunch box, your juice box, or buying box goods from box stores? How you tubers doing today? No one has any idea.
Be careful about the dosage of testosterone they take.
Sure.
Otherwise, it loops around and turns back into estrogen.
Sure, but if it's the case you're looking for a strength differential, right? Most men are short on testosterone anyway, and you could give them TRT.
Why not give it
That's
to
one. But two, for women, TRT and its effects and changes on your physical body would take years. Doesn't take weeks. Takes years for your muscles to start to increase.
I know quite a bit about this. It
Go
doesn't.
ahead. It does.
It doesn't.
It definitely does.
I have very personal experience with this. It doesn't.
You became 50% stronger using TRT. You became equivalent in strength to the average man using TRT.
I mean, my muscles immediately grew. Yes.
Yeah, your muscles will immediately grow. But so what?
They immediately grew, and I also wasn't even working out.
They would need
if I started,
what they would need to do.
If I started working out while I was on T, I would be jacked out of my mind.
Sure.
I would be stronger.
And you would still be weaker than no, you wouldn't be stronger than most men. That's the problem.
I think I would want.
He's about to have a fucking mental seizure. Fucking meltdown. Did you see him rub his head probably? Like, oh my God, this woman's driving me crazy.
To see for that reason, a study on if, FTM people are like how long it takes for them to become as strong.
Can I logically demonstrate it for you?
Surely there's.
Okay, I can just logically demonstrate it for you. How many of these F to M's are in male contact sports? Can you name one?
Yeah, there's a.
It better be a contact sport. Better not be water
it's
polo.
Wrestling. There was
what wrestling? Pro wrestling?
No. It was the story was on an FTM teenager in high school who was getting a lot of flack for being on the women's team, and so they switched him to the men's team, and he did fine. So yeah, that's a male contact sport.
I would like to know what this story is so I can look into it.
Okay,
but
it's been like
I'm not aware.
I am referencing.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any
in, like Tumblr and 20.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any professional athletes in the NFL or in the NBA or in any of these places which are F to M, and I mean anywhere.
That's female to male, F to M, right? That's females pretending to be males, transitioning. Whoa. And because of policies, procedures, and protocols enforced by both parties, you can transition children without the consent of parents. I can't tell you how many times I heard stories of children being mentally manipulated by their high school guidance counselor, their teachers, and convinced to become the other gender behind the parents' back. I mean, what is that crap?
Or they can't compete with the men. They'll just get crushed. They'd be destroyed.
Also peak athletes. Like, are we talking
But isn't it scalable? Like, they would be peak athletes too.
Do you think that everyone else, I feel that everyone has, based on their genetics, a level of potential that they can reach.
Yeah.
And I think even if you take testosterone, you still have that limit. I think that the vast majority of men will never be.
You know what? I'll just grant that you could jack women up on TRT.
Make a mega jacked. Which would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. You ain't going to do it. But even then, it doesn't deal with the problem of the SA. It doesn't deal with that issue at all.
Well, they'd start growing beards, and their voices would drop.
Do you think that would stop them from being SA'd?
No, of course not.
Okay, then.
But that's also a consequence of, going to war. Unfortunately, you can be captured and tortured. It's horrible, but it's what.
But it's going to be way more horrible for women.
I mean, God, prisoners of war, male prisoners of war, suffer quite horribly. I mean, we could also consider that it's quite possible
They're
that
not SA'd 50 times a day, and women would be.
Sure, but I would assume that female prisoners would not be given would be given less harsh physical punishments versus the men.
Less harsh physical punishment than being raped?
No, but what I mean is like.
What's a less harsh punishment than that?
Like having like your freaking legs and arms broken and being like beaten to a bloody pulp every day.
Didn't you think that most women, if they had to choose, would prefer that over SA? Because most of the feminists I've talked to would claim that they would.
Over having my legs and arms broken? My God, I would have to decide in the moment because
I guess.
Those both sound pretty awful.
They both sound pretty awful.
Both sound pretty awful.
But being sent back home pregnant with your SAers' kids too, that would be hugely demoralizing on your countrymen, wouldn't it?
I don't know what starvation and long-term imprisonment would do for someone's fertility.
Why does it even need to be long-term? They could just do it over a couple of weeks, send you home pregnant.
Sure, and then that person could abort or keep the child.
That's
their choice.
That's horribly traumatic.
It's horribly traumatic. Yes, correct.
Not just for you, for your countrymen, for your husband, for your parents, right? It's the most demoralizing thing I could ever think of doing to the enemy.
It is horrific, and it happens all the time. Women are SA'd and forced, keep.
Not only that, can we just point out that in the military itself, the SA rates for women are really high. Just being in the military, period.
Yes.
They're not good for women anyway. They probably shouldn't be in the military anyway because they're constantly SA'd anyway.
I don't have any thoughts on that because that is a very significant issue.
Huge issue that would go away. It would go away if women weren't in the military.
I think different units could be better for that. However, I do.
You're going to have the Charlie all-female fighting force.
I mean, didn't the
you know what I would do if I were
the Soviets have an all-female sniper? They had all-female sniper.
I'm gonna just I hate
units. Did they not?
Yeah, I hate to be the person to because it's like telling a kid that there's no such thing as Santa Claus, but the female super soldier snipers from the Soviet Union were propaganda. They didn't exist. They weren't.
I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, look into it. But
okay.
The big female ass kicking chicks, 99% propaganda. And by the way, for the men it was too. 99% propaganda. They had outrageous kill counts, 700, 800, 900. Give me a fucking break. Yeah, right. Not even close. But what are you going to say? That your enemy comes out with a report that says that their sniper killed 120 of yours. Is your report going to say that you only killed 10 of theirs? No, of course not. You match propaganda with propaganda.
Well, yeah, it's also World War II. It's not like we can really.
And it was
going on.
It was way overstated.
That being said, women in the military, whatever. Do you think that women do not suffer when their sons, husbands, brothers, fathers are sent to war?
Yeah, they suffer.
Because I would, I can't say what I would do if my brothers and father were sent to die, just to make some rich guy more money. I can't tell you what I would do. It's.
Yeah, but I mean, it's preferable to not die.
Yes.
Than to die.
Yes.
So you still get the better end of the deal.
Why would I vote to send my brothers and my dad to war? Why would I go, yes? Oh, just what I wanted. I want all the men I love to die. Like I feel like that's ridiculous.
Women are susceptible to propaganda in many ways that men aren't, and they're the most susceptible to it.
Would you like the sniper overview?
Yeah, sure.
So Soviet female sniper units were a small percentage compared to male snipers. There were 430,000 snipers trained in the Soviet Union during World War II, only 2,000 of which were women. And a fraction of the total sniper force were women.
Okay, yeah, very, very small. I knew that about them being very, very small.
And their kill counts were also very small and wildly blown out of proportion. Wildly blown out of proportion.
It does say that the male snipers had higher kill counts.
Well, I guess a kill is a kill.
Yeah, but I would just point this out that that aside, the problem is that right now in the Ukraine, if you're part of the voting bloc and you get invaded, for instance, women can vote to leave, the men behind to kill while they leave. And that's exactly what's going on. The women aren't required to fight. They're leaving. They're allowed to leave. And the Ukraine men are not allowed to leave.
Do you think that the men, I think that's horrible, but how do the men in Ukraine feel about it? Because I do think that there are often men with very, strong ideas about chivalry who would say, that's my duty.
Sure. Totally agree.
To carry on our country.
Oh, yeah. I completely agree.
Women need to go. Because that's very much
But what would that have to do with the justice of it all or the injustice of it all?
Well, there's no justice in that. That's not.
Yeah, it's not just. And so the thing is, that when I for the practical
these sorts of votes to pass, is it a woman in power that is making these things happen?
Well, in a democracy, yes. Aren't all women in power? Yeah. No, you don't have the power to vote?
Oh, I can vote, but the people who are deciding what I can
Then you have equal power to men.
Certainly, yes, the men of my status, but not the lawmakers, not the politicians.
You're in charge of the politicians that get put into office.
Hardly. I think that's
you and the collection of voters, yes, and you vote for collective interests, just like we vote for collective interests.
We try to, but do you think that American politicians and lawmakers largely reflect the interests of the people?
Interestingly enough, I think now they do. I think that the truth is that when I talk to the average progressive, yeah, I think they do. I think that we're getting exactly what we paid for and what we vote for. So yeah, I do. I think that we have an immoral government because we have an immoral populace, and I think that that's always that generally tends to be the case. Now, not always, but I think generally, yeah, we have exactly the government we deserve, which is a bunch of incompetent fucking assholes who are out there to fuck us over, right?
That's very bleak, but I can't say I disagree with you there on that. However, my point is that we typically don't get a say oftentimes in what we vote on, what laws are passed. I mean, we can try our best, when the midterms come up. I don't know how democracy works in Ukraine. I am woefully uneducated on Ukraine and Russia. But again, I feel like you would want to turn to the politicians and lawmakers that are allowing these injustices to occur.
Well, I guess before we get to that, can we just start with agreeing that that's an unjust and non-equitable system? Correct, that women can vote to send men to wars they don't have to fight?
I mean, I think being able to, it's not just women. It would also be old men. It would be disabled men.
No, because there's still the potential which exists there uniquely for them that even old men, if they have skills and the government wants them, they are definitely going to go, and the government can force them to do it via these various draft acts.
Would be the same things that women would be sent over for.
No.
For instance,
what do we want? What skills we need from women in warfare? They don't have any of the STEM. They have none of the STEM degrees.
Medicine.
Why would we need women for what? For nursing?
Yes. Correct. Yes, for healthcare.
But they've always been nurses. And
we did also have female nurses in wars. Florence Nightingale is
and they didn't get shot because they were nowhere near the front lines. They're always behind.
All right. Well, you know what? My grandfather was drafted into Vietnam.
Yeah.
And he was a doctor.
Yeah.
He was not near the front lines ever at all.
Sure.
He was a very valuable.
But he had the potential to be.
No.
Yes.
They were not going to waste a doctor on the front lines. Are you crazy?
Unless the war came to him. And the thing is that sometimes it did. Like they had the Tet Offensive.
Got bombed, they had the Tet. Also female nurses like in the same housing on the same boats that were also bombed.
Usually they keep them separated and evacuate them first, just like they did during the Tet Offensive. When the Tet Offensive happened in Vietnam, that was during the Tet holiday, their like Day of the Dead. And there was a Tet ceasefire and they broke the ceasefire. They attacked military bases all over Vietnam and just fucking decimated us. It was brutal.
Yeah.
But the thing is like even the nurses who were there, which by the way, still mostly male, I believe. But even the ones that are female, they get evacuated first. Women are always evacuated first. In other words, the potentiality is always there for these men. It's not really there for these women. And I don't know why it is that for like any other form of social injustice, you would be all about this. If I said, hey, look at the fact that, like, for instance, these white people can vote to have black people go fight wars they don't have to fight, you would be like, no way. We're not going to allow, no fucking way. And if I gave you the same potentials for that, I feel like you'd be like, we need to stop that and right this second. But for some reason, when it's between the sexes, you don't care.
Would the response be, okay, no white people can vote? That wouldn't be the correct response.
It would be no white people
can vote.
No white people can vote to send black people off to war, right? They're not allowed to do that. And yes, if it was the case, I think that you would actually. I think that you would advocate, if it was the case that white people could vote to send black people off to war, that they didn't have to go fight. I think that you would say that you should mitigate suffering in some way for that, or suffrage for that.
So you feel that I would say that all white people, like no white people, should be allowed to vote?
If it was the alternative that they could vote black people to go to war when they didn't, yeah, I think you would.
Unfortunately, I'm selfish to the degree that as a white person, I still want to be able to vote. I want to have a say in the country that I pay taxes to.
Even if it's the case that we can vote to send black people off to war and we don't go fight them ourselves?
I think that most white people would not vote to send black people to war. I think that's kind of a strange scenario, because that also gets into the trouble of determining, my goodness, how would that even work?
The same way it worked in the drafts. They would go to low-income black neighborhoods and draft them.
Well, that's kind of how we recruit into the military now anyway, is we, find the poorest people possible and we go, hey, free school, free healthcare, join
I
the
agree.
military.
There's a lot of bribery there.
Die for the wealthy.
But my point is that I think that this form of social injustice, you would be I just think that if the roles were reversed racially, that you would be outraged, and you're just not, because
I would be upset.
I just think that you're.
I hate the draft.
I just think the reason it's not just about the draft, though. My argument here is not even about the draft. My argument is that it's a huge injustice that one portion of the population has the potential to always fight wars on behalf of the other. The other doesn't have to fight it, gets all the benefits of them doing it, right? And we're supposed to just be like, well, okay then.
The benefits,
it's like, yeah, fuck that. No, that's not okay then.
The benefits, like having your male family members die, potential wartime rape if your country is
the benefits of you
invaded.
Not being fucking occupied and being able to get all your resources. Those are way bigger benefits.
Going to war doesn't ensure that you'll never not be occupied. Again, what that means is that a good chunk of the money that we make will be going to war.
I assure you, you're wrong.
Our country will get
assure you that if you refuse to go to war, you will be occupied.
Let her finish. Go ahead.
We will also be, again, if our country goes to war, any country that votes to go to war, there's a chance that they could be invaded and their women could be subjected to wartime SA. Again,
SA, Andrew, is sexual assault. They just won't say it. Worried about offending someone's feelings or emotions. Let's talk about fidelity rates between women and men in the military. How many women just married a man for government incentives, government health insurance, government perks because you married a military man, government health care, military benefits, right? You didn't marry the man. You married the government through the man. You just wanted the health care benefits, right? Yeah. No other overseas fighting. Wives are home cheating. Yeah, most of them are. Amazing.
Probably 8 out of 10.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Can't leave them alone.
and also, in times of war, things are tough. Your resources are not there. People starve during wartime. There is very few people who actively benefit from war, except for the ultra wealthy.
Yeah, but do you understand that the case in point is that it's going to...
What about the widows of war? Wow. Widows of war, right? married the man for the healthcare benefits. He died in the war, and now she gets benefits. She benefited from the war. Cost man his life, though, and that's okay.
Be men who are going to do this. And when you say things that are, they just sound absurd to me. Like, there's no guarantee that you still won't be occupied even if you send the men off to war. It's like, so what? You're still sending the men off to war. And you just don't ever have that potential. Like, that's nothing you ever have to worry about. When you go down and you sign up to vote, you don't have to sign a draft card. Like, you don't get put in a draft system. Your number's never going to get called. That's nothing you ever need to worry about, ever. And that is a potential that all men need to worry about. And by the way, even the ones...
It's not really. We haven't had a draft since Vietnam.
So what?
Again, because the way that warfare works has changed. We have an insanely bloated military. The chances of either of you being called in a draft to go to the front lines to fight, slim to none. However, I am against the draft, and I would support any legal motion to remove the draft. I would vote for that.
Yeah,
I would use my power as a woman.
Yeah, that's great, but
vote
it's
to
not even
save
contending with what I'm saying. That's like not even contending with what I'm saying. Even if that's the case, that's nice that you say that, right? But our global leaders are never going to get rid of the draft because their military advisors tell them not to, because it's a huge weapon for mobilization of military force if you need it. So we're never going to get rid of it. That's just a fucking pipe dream. It's never going to happen, ever.
So remove women's ability to vote, and then we'll never go to war. Is that your thinking?
No, I'm saying that this injustice and unfairness. And by the way, like when you bring up, you say, well, what about 60-year-olds? They can't be drafted. Okay, but they could have been when they were in their 20s and signed up for the draft, in which you didn't have to. So their potential was already there and exhausted. They already had to go through that stage of life where their number could be called and yours couldn't. So yeah, they still get the benefit. They still did the thing that you guys will never fucking do. They still did it. So the thing is like, it just stands like this to reason, right? It doesn't matter if the 18-year-old never gets called to a draft. The potential is only there that he will. And you can't get mad at him later because he still maintains voting rights or certain rights that you don't get, because he still went through the process of signing up for the draft and had the potential to be called, and you never did. So it's like, why do you get anything extra? Why is it that they don't get extra, in fact? Why do you get anything on par with that when the social status is such that men can be called to defend you and die, and that's never a service you have to render on their behalf?
You know, I have multiple male family members who went to war. My grandfather, who was drafted, and I have never had them express to me, it makes me so mad that you as a woman get to vote because I was drafted and went to war. I've never encountered this attitude from anyone that went to combat.
Yeah, but
like that was deployed. Like I have until this I had never heard that before.
Yeah, but do you understand that maybe?
And the rage
I think
towards
you
the draft
do.
is against the politicians.
Well, I think you do understand, though, that that many times injustices are perpetuated on people, and they don't even know that they're being perpetuated on them. Perhaps most injustice is that way.
But
So just because a person tells you or has never told you that they felt that there was a weight of injustice in a thing which was happening, may never have been explained to them, or they may never have even thought about it before. Like most people don't think about the weight of injustice.
But women aren't responsible for this injustice. It is the lawmakers and politicians that put the draft in place.
Well,
bullshit. Bullshit, woman. You know what you're responsible for? Your emotions, your feelings, your opinions, and concerns. You should make sure they're factual before you speak on them. You should never assume anything about anyone. You're very judgmental. It's amazing. You like pointing a finger. What happens when one's pointing back at you? What if just maybe we might be at war right now? I'm at war with you, woman. Why do women have such a hard time with accountability, admitting fault? Is it an ego thing? Is it your indoctrination, daddy issues? Cross-generational relationships between mothers and their sons, fathers and their daughters. Most fathers don't actually have access to their own daughters. 80% of fathers don't have access to their children. 80% of children grow up without a father. Mother, don't play dumb. Not here. Not fucking now. Silent makes you sound stupid. Might sound like, what? Subjugated sex slaves? Suffered Stockholm Syndrome or something? Does that mean I survive another day? Where's the mothers at? You really want to send your sons to die so you can get food stamps, welfare benefits? Most military families are on food stamps. Have you noticed that? And I thought like food stamps was something to be ashamed of. Wow, you can't even pay your military people a living wage. Just fucking amazing. Welfare recipients. Silent hookers and silent whores, right? Welfare hookers. Prostituting themselves for a welfare benefit. Come on, mama, where you at?
But my opinion on this is that it doesn't really matter. What matters is that this injustice is happening now, and it's going to continue to happen for the rest of our lives, and you're never going to get rid of it ever. And even if it were the case that women could be drafted, it wouldn't matter because they would never be able to serve in the same capacity as men. And since the draft is never going to go away ever, and it's not ever going to go away, you're not going to be able to vote it away. There'll always be some capacity for it because it's just too useful of a mechanism. If you ever have to go to war, your generals will never allow it.
Okay, then,
So if, hang on, let me finish the point though. If that's the case, then it's a fundamentally unfair proposition that women can vote in politicians against the will of men, and they do all the time because they're mostly left-wingers who could then vote to send them to war. Like that's completely unjust in every capacity I can think of. That's totally unjust.
It's my understanding that political divides are a lot more stark when it comes to ethnicity and education versus, gender. Like there is a divide, but if we're talking about populations sending people to war, like most white female voters voted for Trump. I think in 2024 and 2016, they were voting with men.
Yeah,
correct.
I've heard this
with white men.
Yeah, I've heard this argument, and so the argument is that it's actually more stark along racial, ethnic, and social lines than it is along gender lines because races tend to vote together.
Yes.
You have a problem with that though, which is that you saw that the Hispanic men really did start voting differently than Hispanic women.
Which
and
is uncommon,
the
yes.
reason that you saw so many of the white women voting with white men is because they were married to them. And that's still a demographic with a high marriage rate. But as the marriage rate decreases, whites don't vote together. And races don't vote together. Women will vote how their husbands are. And as long as the marriage rates are still higher for whites than they are other demographic groups besides Asians, as soon as those marriage rates continue to plummet, no, in fact, women do vote against men's interests, for sure.
I would say, I believe in Black American populations, the marriage rate is fairly low.
Extremely low.
But regardless, Black women and Black men tend to vote the same.
Except this last election.
Really?
Yeah. When you look at the Black female vote versus the Black male vote. But yeah, like I agree under Obama, right? 90%. But Black people have voted as a monolith for a long time.
Yeah.
That's not the case with other races. And we can look down ethnic lines and we can see that, yes, it's true that white women tend to vote the way their husbands do. But when they're not married, they tend to vote left.
Well,
and that's that.
About women who are more likely to be unmarried and of age to vote. You're looking at a lot of the time, college students, women, educated women. So again, I think that education plays a huge role in how someone votes. I believe that most white people, male and female.
So she's implying that undereducated people, right wingers, they vote right because they don't have a degree from a left wing university. So there's something wrong with them. Holy shit.
Educated tend to vote left, whereas uneducated tend to vote right.
When you say uneducated, you just mean not college degree.
Yeah, sorry, high school diploma or equivalent.
I do believe that it is the case, yes, that when it comes to the voting record of people with college degrees, they tend to move more progressive, yes. That's the case.
Yeah, so my point is, again, that educated people almost like 99% of the time end up marrying other educated people. People tend to marry people of the same social status.
Or higher,
yeah.
So educated people have a tendency for marrying money. How about that? Right? They don't actually care about the people they're marrying. They're marrying for social status or clout or societal approval. They're trying to climb the corporate ladder. Huh? What? No.
So then would they not just be voting the same as their husbands in that case as well?
Yeah, they are. So the white women are voting the same way as their husbands are.
Yeah.
But the case is that most white men, most white men are not college educated, don't have college degrees. They have trade degrees. Most of them are smarter than the educated. And they vote right. And their wives vote right along with them. But when they're not married, they tend not to. They tend not to vote. They vote left, very much left. And I can so we should have the social expectation that as marriage rates decrease for whites, and they are decreasing rapidly, that women will continue to vote left and men will continue to vote right. So it is a massive gender divide. It's a big problem, or sex divide, right? I mean, it just is objectively.
Right. I mean, sure. I forgot why.
So if that's the case, then women can. Well, the point is that women can vote against the interests of men. Now, maybe you could say that that's okay when it comes to democracy, but it's really not okay when it comes to things like warfare, when they can vote to send men off to war. Like that's just like criminally unjust from my view. It's so unjust.
This is going to be a tricky conversation. But you could make the same argument about abortion. And I know that,
That reminds me of I got paused right there. I can remember I posted about this the other day. She's talking about abortion. Abortion is healthcare, guys. No, abortion is not healthcare. Abortion is murder. Yeah? How many Democrats have abortion as a healthcare issue? Picket signs in their front yard. It's crazy. Right next to it, they're supporting Governor Mills. What's one of Governor Mills' initiatives? Fail men in women's sports. That's a fucking great idea, isn't it?
You believe that it is murder. However, I hold the view, and I want you to trust in me in the sense that you don't think that I would be very cool with like murdering babies. So when I say I think abortion,
it's your view, it's not a baby.
It's not a baby. It's not
I understand.
sentient yet.
Yeah. You don't consider that to be human life. Well, you consider scientifically. You consider it scientifically to be human life, but you don't consider life to begin until there's some sort of cognitive sentience or something like this, right?
There's only 2 points of interest for the government and society in regards to your baby while it's still in the womb and before it goes to fucking school. Right? And in either situation, key concept, vaccination, right? Got to vaccinate the babies while they're still in the womb. Then you got to vaccinate the fucking babies on their way to school. Right, mama? Vaccination, 2 points of contact for the government. Let's vaccinate the little motherfucker while they're still in the womb. We're on the way to school. Either way, they're getting their crotch shots from Dr. Death, right, Mama? Where the fuck are you at these days? In the kitchen cooking for the King Talk King?
Yeah, something to that degree. I think it was it St. Augustine that said, oh, when it starts to kick, that's when it's a person, something like that. I think that abortion and birth control, because women are, very much encumbered by our physical forms, our biological capacity to have children. I think that the only way we can have equality is to have access to birth control and abortion, so that we can participate in the economy the same way men can. So when men vote against women's interests and can force us to carry children and destroy our, our avenue to freedom, financial freedom, financial independence, it strikes me the same way
Space Nine.
as the draft does to you. Is I feel like that's
I understand.
Yes.
Here's something interesting, though. Let's just start with this, because I think we should get our terms correct here.
Okay.
When you say force, right? Nobody actually forces you to have a child, even if you can't abort it. Isn't that actually the case? Nobody's actually forcing you to do that. The case is that you're using what's called an ambiguous equivocation, which is a fallacious form of argumentation. The equivocation is that you would have us believe, through the nebulousness of the language of the term force, that somebody is using some type of physical compellence to make you do a thing, when in fact the truth is that they're not doing that at all. You're just simply not allowed to do a thing. That's different than forcing you to do a thing.
I mean,
so like,
a law that says I cannot drive in the left lane, or I cannot drive, I don't know, I can't go 100 miles per hour on the highway.
Yeah.
Yes, I can technically do it, but there will be consequences. Most likely me probably dying in a horrible accident.
Yeah, so is a red light, do you think that a red light is force?
No, but there's consequences.
But it's not force. And that's the same thing here. You have a law, but it's not. There's no force that's being used.
Technically, no one's forcing you to go to war. You could choose prison. What is it? What is the term for abandoning?
Desertion.
Desertion. Yeah, you could desert. Like you aren't technically being forced to do so. You could take the penalty for not signing up for the draft. You could refuse the draft.
Penalty for draft dodging can be you get shot. That's a little bit different than...
Is that the case?
That's the case, yeah.
Because there were a lot of people that dodged the draft.
And they were given immunity, basically, from the government. They pardoned them. But it's not just imprisonment. If you do desertion, for instance, you can be shot. And they shot people for desertion all the time. People were shot for deserting their post.
Well, you're still not being forced to do it.
My search here just on this topic, in the USA, desertion is a serious offense, and the penalty for desertion during a time of war can be death, though other punishments like imprisonment are possible.
Okay, what about draft dodging? And what happens if you refuse to sign up for the draft? You can't vote? Is that essentially...
You can't vote, you can't buy a gun. There's other penalties associated with it too. Which have to do with tax filing.
You're not being forced to do it. There will be severe consequences, but you technically don't have to sign up for the draft. No one's forcing you to. No one's holding a gun to your head and saying you must sign it.
Do you want the penalties for draft dodging?
Yes.
It can include federal felonies like fines up to $250,000 and or up to 5 years in prison for failing to register. Other consequences like state level restrictions on things like college eligibility or driver's licenses can occur. And I believe there's some preclusion from receiving federal student loans and preclusion also from certain federal jobs.
Yeah, so I understand the argument you're making. The argument for equivalency here is, wait a second, nobody's forcing you to do this, to go off to war or something like this, right? I guess my argument there would be pretty easy, which is that this is outside of your control. Drafting is outside of your control.
Yeah.
Having a child is not outside of your control for almost any woman who's ever been pregnant. They're almost always pregnant, and that's within their control.
Yes.
And so I don't think that men, given the punitive punishment of years in prison for felonies or potentially being shot for desertion, even if they do go, or having the penalty raised for draft avoidance if we needed men, which would probably be, again, you'd probably get shot. I don't think that these are equivalent statements because, one, you are being voted and force is to be used in order to compel you to do these things. Nobody's compelling you to get pregnant. Nobody ever forces you to get pregnant. Well, unless it's SA, right? But the thing is like it does, but it's not, it doesn't account for the majority of cases, the overwhelming majority of cases. And if it were the case that you argued to me, but in the case that I am forced, right? What about then? I think that you would be able to negotiate that out with the other side. I think they would be willing to say in cases of SA, of incest, of things where force and compellence was used, they have said many times that they would be willing to negotiate that out if it stopped all of their abortions.
Right.
But the left, that's not really your argument because you want women to have that regardless.
150,000 people die every day. Mondays on TNT.
CP's crashing. Charge
Clear. The Emmy winner for Best Drama. The Pit. Mondays, back to back, starting at 9 on TNT.
Well, the issue with that is that getting someone charged with SA, I'm sure you would agree, is a tedious and can be a very long process. So how would that work? If, let's say, I was SA'd and I became pregnant and I showed up to Planned Parenthood in a state where, well, I guess they're closing the Planned Parenthoods, and I said, I need an abortion, I was SA'd, and they go, okay, we need the paperwork to prove that you were SA'd. I could potentially be looking at months, maybe even years of trying to prove that I was, SA'd. And in the meantime, I would be pregnant, and then I would reach a point where an abortion would not make any sense.
Well, let's even assume that you were able to negotiate this out in such a way where if you just made the claim that you were SA'd and named whoever the victimizer was, and you were in the process of that, then you could still get the shmishmortion. But if it was determined that you were lying or made it up, then there was some sort of criminal penalty towards you.
But what happens, do you think that every time a charge is dismissed, that means that the accused is innocent?
No.
Because I think a lot of the time people who do things
by
like
that same argument, then I have reason to doubt the SA standards, because do you think that if a person is convicted, that that means that they're guilty?
No.
Well, then if that's
There's
the case,
absolutely scenarios
then we
where
have, so all we can do then is go off of data, unless it's questionable data, right? What else can we do? Because the idea here of you just saying, well, they may be innocent. It's like, okay, well, then that person who was convicted of SA may be not guilty, right? He may be innocent, and the person who's innocent may actually be guilty. It's hard to say. But in this case, if you went and you filed this, right? Let's just say somehow we got it to where you could actually move through the system very quickly in order to get this abortion if it was proven that it was due specifically to rape, right? Great, got that. But that's not really what you want, right? You want unfettered access to abortion by every woman, don't you?
Yeah.
So it has so any of these arguments, the micro nuanced arguments, which are around rape and incest, don't really matter that much, because ultimately that
I do have a lot of concerns about that being the process of having to prove this to get that exemption. I do genuinely, not out of self-interest, but out of, fear for other women and girls.
Yeah, but assuming that was a possibility that we could expedite such a process quickly.
Yeah,
right?
I would still want abortion to be
so then who cares? Where you're arguing over something that's almost inconsequential in comparison to the overwhelming amount of abortions which are done, and they're done as a form of birth control.
I mean, they're not frequently done.
Yeah, they're frequently done. They're not rare.
No, they're not rare.
And they were always,
like
we were promised they were going to be rare, but they're not rare.
Once in a lifetime occurrence. Actually, Brian, could you Google what percentage of women have an abortion in their lifetimes? Because again, it is a form of birth
I think
control.
it's over 40% of women have one.
Yeah, but are they having abortions every year or are they having one?
I have it. According to that doesn't matter. An estimated 24.7% of women in the United States will have an abortion by the time they're 45.
Okay.
And that translates to approximately 1 in 4 women.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
not quite
it's-
as high as I thought.
Yeah.
But 1 in 4 is still fucking high.
But it's I don't think that most people get repeat abortions. It's usually the cases of that I think are fairly rare. Brian, I don't know if you can fact check.
But why does like frequency here matter?
Well,
it's still being used as a form of birth control. That's the truth.
If we're talking about a birth control, and we're thinking about, like birth control is typically something you have to use every time you engage in intercourse, or it is some sort of hormonal thing that you are, using all the time. What I'm saying is that abortion, it's this idea of it as like comparable to the pill or to a condom is.
Well, it's comparable only in the way that it's being used as a form of birth control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's preventing a birth, sure.
Yeah, so it's comparable to birth control because that's what birth control is doing, preventing a birth.
Yes, but it's a painful, traumatic process that most people do not want to undergo. It's like a last resort,
But
it happens.
yeah, and as a form of birth control. So that's in the most common forms of abortion are forms of birth control. So the thing is like almost all women have an abortion not because they're SA'd or because of incest or their life is at risk, but because they use it as a form of birth control.
Well, it's because the birth control that they were using failed, typically.
So now they use this other form of birth control.
Yes.
I think we're saying the exact same thing here.
Sure,
I don't feel like we're even speaking past each other. So the thing is like, that to me that's fucking insane, first of all. Like, why would you even want to advocate for a society in which female hormonal birth control is even a thing anyway? It fucks women up. Like it fucks them all up.
I mean,
it makes them all mental and fucking crazy and fucking retarded and all kinds of shit.
I mean, it really depends on the woman. I do think that hormonal birth control, by and large, horrible. But there are women who, when I was 14, sorry to TMI, but I got my period and I got it for 2 months straight. And so to fix that, I was put on birth control for a while to balance that out so that I was not bleeding every single day of my life. And then I was taken off of it. There's women with like PCOS.
Maybe we can find common ground here. Hang on. Maybe we can do it this way. You want women to not have to have unwanted births.
Yes.
That's what you're after, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think every child.
I propose that if you take away birth control, hormonal birth control, and you take away condoms, that women will actually have less unwanted children because they'll have less sex. Because that equals pregnancy. And my proof for this is that we can go back to a time not that long ago before we had hormonal birth control and condoms, and there was way less unwanted babies being born than there are right now when we have all those things.
That was also, I think society expected you to have a child. However, I will concede. So I did a debate, like I think last month, about like, do abortion laws meaningfully decrease abortions? And what I saw from the data is that after, abortion restrictions are in place, there is a small spike in births, but then it starts to decline at the same
rapidly.
rate. And then, in the surrounding states, abortions go up. So yes,
it does work.
I guess it does work, but I mean, that sucks.
Because you want to fuck.
Well, I mean, okay, you're a married man.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing.
Presumably you don't want, 10 baby Wilsons running around. That's a lot of mouths to feed. Oh, sorry. Like presumably you married couples don't want to be at risk for having children all the time. especially as a woman grows older and the risk to her body becomes more extreme, where she could miscarry or, die in the attempt, right? Like, wouldn't we want birth control to be accessible?
I mean, there's other alternatives, right?
Guess the pull-out method could work.
No, there's other alternatives to that too. Like women, if they've had 4 kids, they often have their tube tied, right?
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
That's pretty common because their health is at risk at that point.
Yeah.
Or there could be a
The father could
possibility.
get the vasectomy.
Yeah, I've had 7 children. They have a vasectomy. Those frowned on in religious practices, right? The tube.
Really?
Yeah, of course. The tubes being tied, though, that's not, right? That's for the health and the welfare of the mother. So it's like there's other alternatives if you want to stop having children after you've had them. But the most common way in which we could probably reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies is to stop fucking each other.
Well, and then the amount of children. Well, I mean, sure, why not? But I also think that there will be more STIs spreading.
There'll be
which
less.
Is not good.
How could there be less or more STIs if there's less sex?
Because the people who are having sex are having unprotected sex, and it would most likely.
Yeah, but there's going to be less people having unprotected sex because they don't want kids. That's the whole point.
So gay men cannot get pregnant. And
yeah, but gay men.
That's my concern.
Gay men rarely use any of that stuff anyway, or if they do, because of the nature of what it is that they do, their STI rates are like 5 times. No, I think they're higher than that. Can you look up in comparison to the normal population how high it is? Gay STIs, they're like it's at an astronomical difference.
Well, I mean, if you combine the male libido with no risk of pregnancy in both parties, men typically have much higher libidos.
But if you combine,
that's what happens.
But this is the problem here with
crazy with each other.
With promiscuity and sex and this type of thing. It's the same exact thing. You combine man-woman now with no risk of pregnancy, and you end up with a promiscuous society. Our STIs are higher than they've ever been in history.
Do you think promiscuity is bad?
Yeah, of course. It's terrible. Terrible idea. It's just a terrible idea for the promotion of society. I mean, not even just STIs, which are just at an all-time fucking high again. They're like,
are they really?
I think they're higher than they've ever been. Again, we can look that up, but they're extremely high.
I do have the.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, do you want to? I do have the statistic really quick. A 2018 study found a 35% STI positivity rate among gay and bisexual cisgender men compared to 15% for heterosexual cisgender men.
Yeah.
Way fucking higher.
Yeah,
Way
yeah.
higher.
And of course, like I said, it's because no risk of baby, 2 men with very, very, very high
And then can you check
libidos,
on if the STI rates on the general population have been
Can we make
steadily
sure
increasing?
it's by age though? Because I do know that there's like STI booms in elderly homes, like senior citizen
That's because
homes.
they're being sexually assaulted.
It's mostly because they're having sex with each other.
No.
I have 2
because of elder. I'm telling you.
I mean, elder abuse is super duper real.
Yeah.
Super duper real, but
2 data points here for you really quick on the first one from before. The syphilis rate for gay and bi men was 309 cases per 100,000, while for heterosexual men, it was just 2.9 per 100,000.
It's one of the wildest maternity shows ever. Now, I got to ask you this, Judge, because, I get a lot of criticism sometimes. And the criticism comes when people think I'm exploiting people. Now, am I exploiting people? There's no doubt the Broderick's the father.
No, $1,000,000.9999999.
Never accept your apology. Don't you get It's a 6-month-old Ron. Timbu, you are baked a not-to-bother cake in anticipation of the results. Derek, you are not. You are not. We have already heard from 16 men. You are not. You are
How about you? A beautiful pimp up. Don't be no pimp though.
Rumor has it, Malchez has 21 babies. 13 different babies.
Look at that right here!
She said she is her father. You are the father. Stand up. Show me what you got. You two here are prancing around here like that's all that matters in this world. You gotta worry about this child. You are not. You are not.
Because of elder, I'm telling you.
I mean, elder
That's
abuse
bad.
is super duper real.
Yeah.
Super duper real, but
2 data points here for you really quick on the first one from before. The syphilis rate for gay and bi men was 309 cases per 100,000, while for heterosexual men, it was just 2.9 per 100,000. Much higher rate. And then the general STI rate over time, it says overall in the US, the STI rates have seen a substantial increase over the past decade. If you want, I can find you going back further.
Well, they've been increasing because people have a lot more promiscuous sex with multiple partners.
But
and
my generation is having, like, I don't know if you've seen that stat. My generation is having less sex than older generations, correct? Gen Z
not
is
the women.
like less.
Not the women.
Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
basically
especially
just the
by-
men who are having less sex. Women are having tons of sex with
Most
the
of the
same
women
5
I
men.
know are like nuns.
Huh?
Most of the women I know are like nuns.
Well, that's nice, I guess. But the case of the matter is, or the fact of the matter is that they're promiscuous. There's a lot of promiscuity. It's led to a huge increase in STIs. It's not just that, but that's where all the unwanted pregnancies come from anyway, and why you have all these abortions. And the same reason that you see them decrease exponentially and unwanted pregnancies decrease exponentially after abortion's outlawed is for the same reason. If we got rid of birth control, you would see unwanted pregnancies decrease rapidly. because people wouldn't be fucking if they thought it was going to lead to a kid. You might see herpes increase, though. Mouth herpes. Probably mouth herpes increases a bit, but
and stuff in the butt.
Still better than the alternative. And so the thing is like, I don't see how that's liberating society or helping society at all. Well, you know, what you're advocating for. It seems to me like we're back to the limit debate. Is it the case that we can limit behaviors in society for the good of society, just like you did with COVID? I think we can, and I think it's fine.
I don't think that limiting abortion benefits society.
I mean, how does it not? It seems to significantly benefit society. We have less abortions. That's great. Right. The whole point of abortion is you want to get rid of unwanted pregnancies. Mm-hmm. We're giving you a way to have unwanted pregnancies go away. Right. And they do go away. The unwanted pregnancies drastically decrease. So it's like, what?
I mean, people are still going to get pregnant, though, because people are still going to have
but I mean, sex. We can't. Here's the thing, though. Right. It's like, we're not going to be able. It's like murder. Like people are still going to murder. You know, like, there's nothing. There's still going to be people who do the thing. I think, but for the overwhelming majority of people, they don't.
You see abortion as something that is innately bad, while I see it as something innately good, because again,
it's good in of itself.
I mean,
so
what it means.
Should a woman get pregnant just to go have an abortion?
No, that's crazy.
All right, again, but is it bad?
To get pregnant just
to go have an abortion?
I think it's weird.
Is it bad?
I would question that person.
But is it bad?
Is it bad? I mean, probably. It's a drain on resources.
That's it?
That could go to other people.
They pay for it.
Well, yeah, but it's a waste of everyone's time.
How? Everyone's getting paid.
Everyone's getting, but then, you know, women who are...
Like, what? How could that possibly be a worse waste of resources than, I had a gangbang last night and got knocked up with this? How's that not even just as much of a waste of resources as a chick who's like, well, I'm just going to go and have sex in order to get pregnant to go have an abortion for fun? Like, how is one more of a drain on resources than the other?
Because one of them is crazy. I don't know. This is
They're both fucking crazy. They're both fucking crazy.
Have you heard of women intentionally getting pregnant to have an abortion? Because I don't know if you know this.
I don't. But that's not the point of the question.
Medical abortions are
but the point of the question isn't to determine if there's.
It's like breaking your leg to go to the doctor.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah,
that's an insane.
That's great, but the point of the question is, like you said, that they're just inherently good. And it's like, if that's the case, then if a woman just got pregnant to go have one, she's doing something good.
No, that's not what I mean.
Then they're not inherently good.
What they provide for women.
No, you just
in the sense that it provides our.
You just mean the outcomes are good.
Yes, the outcomes are positive. Sure.
Yeah,
yes,
but
the outcome is that women.
But which ones? Which positive? Because if I can give you more positive outcomes for what you want, which is less kids who are being born that parents don't want. It seems like I provide that society better than you do with abortion. So, like, what outcomes here? What outcomes are better from your view that you're providing that I'm not?
Well, again, when I talked about the abortion statistics, abortions did go up in surrounding states. So
that's because they were legal there. Come on.
Well, yes, but what I mean is that the people who were having abortions in those states left to rather than get them in the state where it's illegal.
No, they didn't.
They got more abortions.
So only some did. And they still ended up going down, right?
No, abortion rates went up, I believe.
Where? Only temporarily and then dropped.
No, birth rates went up temporarily and then dropped.
Yes, birth rates, yes.
Yeah.
So unwanted births.
But in the surrounding states.
Yeah, they go up.
Abortions did go up.
Yeah, but they don't go up by the same amount as the predictive abortions in the state would have been. So, like, let's say the state had 50 abortions a day. You don't see the state next to it now increase by that same 50. You might see an increase by like 20 or 15 a day. You know what I mean? That's more realistic to what it is. So it does reduce abortion and it reduces unwanted pregnancy. And the whole idea of abortion, from your view, is getting rid of the unwanted pregnancy, I thought. That's the point. So if we have a way in which we can have, it sounds like you just basically are like, I just want people to be able to fuck. That's what it sounds like you.
I mean, I think it comes from a place of understanding that people will fuck.
But they don't, though. They don't seem to. It seems like if abortion's not available to them and unwanted pregnancy, right, is still not there, the birth rates are not increasing, then how do you account for that?
Do we want a sexless nation?
It's not a sexless nation. There's still plenty of people who are married and fucking and having children at the right times. But I kind of do think.
About, like,
but wait.
men,
Yes,
though?
actually, yes. Do I want a nation in which promiscuous sex is gone? Yeah, kind of. Like, what? Can you tell me what's great about it? Tons of STIs everywhere. The STI rate increases, right? The fact of the matter is that you have women who have been, screwed by 20 or 30 men, and men who have screwed 20 or 30 women. That doesn't seem like it's very good for the moral fabric of your society or for your society at all. And so it's like, if we can get rid of the thing you want, which is the unwanted pregnancy, and it seems like the unwanted pregnancies decrease when you get rid of abortion anyway. It sounds like it's like a big winner here.
So we have like an entire incel movement that I think has been labeled a domestic terrorist threat, in the sense that
by fucking liberals. It has. I wish that we could label feminist as a domestic terrorist organization.
Can you would you deny that there have not been mass shooters motivated by
do you deny that trans ideology has motivated mass shooters? Do we label them as being domestic terrorists?
No, I think no,
we don't.
But that's different. That's like an identity rather than a problem to be solved. I think that.
Wait, what? No, it's a problem to be solved, or else they wouldn't become trans to begin with. They have a problem and they're trying to solve it. It's not just a matter of identity.
Well,
it's a matter of problem solution.
Medication and surgery and whatnot. Whereas like involuntary celibates, I just feel like
involuntary celibates also, if it's a problem to be solved, they get buff and fuck a chick, and it's same shit, right? You have a problem, you're solving it. They're just like the trans are having a problem, they're solving it. That's, from your view, isn't that the same thing?
Then why are all the men on the internet complaining that they are loveless and can't find women?
So are women. And they just do it at a different age. See, women in their 20s, they don't complain too much because, if you go right now and you show a picture of your ass on the internet, you're going to have 20,000 guys who go, oh my God, my lady, it's the greatest thing ever. And that stops when you get older. It stops when you're 40, 45, 50. That validation starts going away. So women in those age brackets have huge loneliness epidemics as well. It's just, that's the case, right? So it just happens to them at different times in life. And then men who get older, less lonely, the older they get. Why? Because they have resources and they start fucking young women. That's how it works.
Well, I think that also, that would depend upon what the woman has done with her life. My mother had no shortage of suitors who were wealthier than her and typically younger than her up until her 50s. And all of her friends seemed to do pretty well in their old age.
But your anecdote aside,
anecdotal,
there is it is true, there's a male loneliness epidemic crisis, and we are we do hyper focus on that, right? But the truth is that it's the case for women too. If the men are lonely, then, and there's as many women as there are for men, right? Then shouldn't, by the power of inference here, we determine that if the men are lonely, then women also would be lonely?
But you just said that young women have far more opportunities. So we're talking about different age ranges.
Yeah, it's because younger women are basically all fucking the same few handfuls of men through hypergamy.
So what we have is an issue here where young women, have many, many, many choices. Young men have very few.
Well, they have choices of who to sleep with, not necessarily who to be with.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about with young men is like the young men who just can't get laid at all, which I don't think is a huge amount, by the way. And by the way, you see a lot of young men moving towards traditional churches, and that's another reason why you see the celibate rate going up.
I personally doubt the sincerity of the movement towards those churches, just based on. I feel that, so I was raised very, very, very religious, but I was raised by a father who was raised atheist, converted after my parents divorced. And he later told me, yeah, I thought it was all BS. Like, I was never actually into it. It was just kind of something I needed at the time. And I do feel that people who are raised without a strong religious influence growing up, it causes me to doubt the sincerity of their conversion, because I often feel like they don't believe it. What they want is a community, or they want some sort of moral high ground, so to speak. Because that's been my experience with converts. I've had friends who converted to Christianity and
I don't
later
disagree,
were like, well, whatever.
but I don't disagree. Yeah, there's some.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And if they're not abiding
Look, I don't think that's the. I don't think the majority of people are converting over to Christianity, especially rigorous traditional churches, just for the community. I think that some may be doing that, but it doesn't seem likely that it would be the vast majority of them.
It's just it's an attitude that I've seen encountered in a lot of younger men, where they'll kind of lionize Christianity and traditional churches, but the way that they live is not Christ-like at all.
Maybe it's a good time for super chats, Brian. I'll have a smoke, and then we can get back to actual feminism here. Oh, yeah, no problem. Yep, no problem. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like we're getting off into the weeds about
a little bit
about shit that doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with anything. So kind of back to feminism. Is the whole reason you're a feminist so that you can have abortion, or is there other reasons?
Well, I actually have a list of
let's go through those
ways that feminism, I mean, if we're talking about me personally, well, the 19th Amendment, women can vote.
What's so great about voting anyway?
I like to have at least a little bit of a voice in a country that I am paying taxes to and intend to spend the rest of my life in.
So it is about power, personal power.
Yes, I would like to have as much say if I'm putting as much into society as someone else. I
guess it does matter, to contradict your earlier point that voting didn't really matter when it came to war. It appears that you think it does, because
I said a small amount of power.
Well, a small amount of power collectively. Small amount of power collectively over a gender can mean a large amount of power.
We don't vote to send people to war. We're not given the vote. The president decides.
You get to vote for the president.
Well, yes, but I mean, we can't necessarily trust that every president who says we're not going to send someone to war.
It's not the president, it's Congress who gets to authorize war. But the president himself, yes, he has a lot of power to mobilize troops for police actions and things like that. But that aside, what's the next issue?
Birth control and Roe v. Wade. Obviously, we talked about that. I want the freedom to, I suppose, like someone who has glasses, I want the freedom to have my the things about my body that potentially inhibit my ability to participate in society. I want to be able to mitigate those things with medicine and technology. And then Equal Pay Act, I want to be paid the same as someone who's doing the same work. I think that's a positive.
Do you think that, well, first of all, how much do you think the difference is? The difference is between, even if we were really charitable to the idea of a wage gap, what do you think the difference really is between wages?
Well, I mean, there's a law against that. There's a law that was passed, so that's what I'm referring to. However, the wage gap isn't based on it's not like you work at a company and, I don't know, you're employee one, I'm employee two, we both started working at the same time. They're not like, oh, because you're a lady, you make 71 cents on his dollar. I do believe that the wage gap refers to the difference in the average salary.
Yeah, so we're not talking about a wage gap. We're talking about you want legislation which equalizes wages.
Yeah, equalizes wages if you're doing the same job with the same amount of experience. It's equality.
So doesn't that limit the freedom and authority of the owner of the business?
To screw people over?
Yeah.
Again, I think
no, wait. How can you be screwing someone over if you make an agreement with me for the amount that I'm willing to pay you for a job? How are you being screwed over?
I mean, I think if you're, making that decision on the basis of someone's immutable qualities such as sex or race, I think that that's pretty Is that not unjust?
No. Why is that unjust? Why
Because
can't
they're doing the same work.
Yeah, so what? Why can't business owners have preferences about what they want? So, like, for instance, let's say you had a business owner who's like, yeah, I don't want to hire you just because you're a woman. Like, why isn't that their business?
Because I don't think that people should have the freedom to screw over other people.
You're not screwing them over. They're asking you for your resources. You're not asking them for theirs. You're trying to screw them over.
The guy who, do you think that, a company is just its head? I mean, workplaces aren't run only by a manager. Its staff is what keeps the place going.
Well, it depends on how big the business is, for one.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that even if it is a large business, it should be up to the propriety of the owner. He has access to all the capital, and all of those managers and employees are asking him for his capital. He's not asking them for
the ones
this.
that are making that capital for him with his guidance.
Wait
they
a
are
second.
producing that capital.
No, they didn't risk any capital. They risked no capital, and so they don't get what he gets. That's the big problem you socialists always have. If you don't risk capital, you don't get to gain. Like, you don't get to be like, I happen to be working here when that guy risked all of his fucking money, and he made a bunch of it, and so now I get a portion of it. That's not how the world works.
I mean, you're talking about small businesses.
Small business is the same thing, and big business is the same exact thing. You're still risking money that ain't yours, so you don't get to benefit from that. That's how that works. You have to risk your own money for that.
Where does stormwater go? Just follow the flow. Stormwater is rain and snowmelt that flows over hard surfaces, washes down storm drains, and ends up in ditches. Stormwater collects pollutants such as pet waste, soil runoff, salt from snowmelt, detergents from wash water, cigarette butts, and litter. But did you know stormwater is untreated and storm drains lead straight to our local water bodies? Stormwater pollution harms aquatic plants and animals. Soils and sediment affect photosynthesis, clog fish gills, and degrade habitat. Oils, detergents, and pet waste lower oxygen levels in water as they decompose, and toxic salt levels can be found year-round in heavy use areas. Plus, bacteria and viruses in stormwater harm humans and wildlife. Clean waterways mean a healthy future for everyone. So what can you do about it? Pick up pet waste, plant grass or add mulch in eroded areas, limit fertilizer, pesticide, and snowmelt use. Wash your car on your lawn, not on your driveway. Place cigarette butts and trash in proper receptacles, and never dump anything down storm drains. Let your friends know. Follow the flow.
And so the thing is like, yeah, it seems like you have people who are asking for economic opportunities from somebody else, and they're getting mad when they won't give it to them. And it's like, how's that not their business, though? It seems like it's totally the business of the owner.
I guess you can have, you could do that. You could look down on your employees and consider them to be people that are you're doing a favor for, rather than skilled workers that you're hiring.
I'm not even sure it's a favor. I think that's the wrong wording. Like, it's not a favor.
Because someone can open a business, but if they don't have anyone to work in it, like what is the business then? Yes, they risk the money.
Well, people have small businesses all the time, and just they run it. It's only them.
Yeah.
And then most often when they hire an employee, that employee doesn't have anywhere near the responsibility or risk that the owner has.
No, of course, I'm not saying they make the same amount, but a fair wage for the same amount of work.
But that should be determined by the employer, what that fair wage is, not by the state. The state, by the way, the state can't even do it anyway. They don't have any understanding of markets at all. So the thing is like just saying, like, I'm trying to figure this out. A woman comes in, or even better, right? A Christian comes in and a Muslim. And I say, okay, well, I'll hire you because you're a Christian and not you because you're a Muslim. What's actually the immoral proposition here? Why is that actually wrong to do? I've never understood that argument. It's always seemed to me like it's fine. They're both asking me, the person, for something. Why can't I tell them to go fuck themselves? And I only want you because I prefer you and don't prefer you. And it is based on an immutable characteristic. And who cares? Fuck you. Fuck your immutable character. I don't like it. So get it out of here.
Well, I would like to work towards a world in which our immutable characteristics don't determine how much we value someone.
But I mean, But that's just pie in the sky bullshit, isn't it? Like, if you have a
I
humpback,
think we've done a good job at working.
No,
I
we
mean,
haven't.
My God, if you look at where America was when we were founded, I mean, there was Black Americans were enslaved, and now we are, legally equal. That is certainly a lot better. That is certainly a lot of progress made.
Yeah, but we're talking about two different things. I'm not talking about the proposition of slavery, maybe the proposition of being able to hire who you want and allocate your resources to people with whom you want to. Like, for instance, you're not going to hire a hunchback, or a person who has like super bad arthritis to solder things. Probably not going to hire them. You're probably going to stay away from those people. And you're like,
there's physical requirements for jobs
right.
sometimes.
But the thing is like, that's still, when you break it down, you start getting into these micro preferences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's the case that you just don't like a person because they just offend your delicate sensibilities in some way.
Well, technically, you don't have to hire them. You just can't be like, hey, I didn't hire Andrew because he's a white guy. Like, you just have to
just lie about it. So you just lie about it.
That's what they do.
Yeah. So
that's what they do.
So then doesn't it just sound like it's just an unenforceable virtue signal, just unenforceable nonsense? So I could be like, look, I only have a male staff because those are the most qualified people.
I think that if you can prove that you were being discriminated against on an immutable quality, this is for workers to be able to, bring this to court, which I think that if you can prove that, you should be able to bring it to.
Yeah, but why? Like, what's the actual proposition here? You own a business. You have all of those resources. They all belong to you. All of them belong to you.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody comes in and wants them, and you just don't like their fucking face. And it doesn't matter why. You don't like them because they're black, they're white, they're Muslim, they're women, they're men, whatever the fucking reason is, right? Why isn't that completely and totally up to the business owner? Why shouldn't that be completely left up to them, who they want to hire and who they don't want to hire?
Well, I think that many businesses take out loans from the state, correct? Like PPE loans.
No, most of it's private equity.
All right. Well, I think if you're going to take out loans, as in a lot of the time use other people's money, I think a lot of people would be upset if the money that they loaned you was not,
They don't give a shit. Lenders just want their money back and the interest. They don't care about your practice. They don't care.
But I think you need to adhere to the law if you're borrowing money. Otherwise, then it's
I'm saying that I want to repeal the law. I think it's an immoral proposition to tell people what they can do with their money. I think that that's immoral. So I'm giving you the proposition, right? My worldview, it's completely immoral to tell business owners that they have to serve people that they don't want to serve, and that they're not allowed to have the hiring practices that they want. Like, it's totally their business.
Well, this isn't even about hiring practices. This is about wages. This is paying.
That would all be hiring practices, right?
Right. Because
don't you get a salary on being hired?
I mean, it depends. You could have minimum wage or a salary.
That would still be your salary, would then be minimum wage. But at being hired, your hiring practice would be the salary negotiation, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is like, I've never, again, I claim, I make the counterclaim.
The law comes from the fact that, employers would pay women less to do the same amount of work.
But I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And I'm fine with it being the opposite. I actually see that as the more moral proposition. If it's the case that it's yours, you get to do what the fuck you want with it because it's yours. And it doesn't matter if that makes a person feel badsy and they're like, well, wait, that's unfair. Fairness isn't an idea of a doctrine when you want something from somebody else. It's not how that works, right?
I'm trying to, this is hard because I don't know if I could ever make a comparison, but you are a Christian.
Yeah.
Does it not make you feel some type of way whenever people discount you or disregard you or exclude you on the basis of your religion?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right. It feels bad.
Or they call me a bad Christian, or they call me this. Yeah, it feels bad. Sure.
It feels bad. And you're like, that's just my beliefs and my religion. It's not harming anyone. I'm just a Christian. Like, it's the same feeling for race and gender. It's like, I'm a competent worker. Why am I not being paid the same amount?
The difference is that it doesn't matter if it hurts my feelings that a Muslim says he won't hire me because I'm a Christian, right? Because it's me who wants the thing from him, right? Now you could say there's mutual. He wants something from me too, but if he really wanted something from me, then he would hire me, right? And he's not.
Well, he's hiring you for less.
Well, he's just not hiring me at all.
Yeah.
Right. But whatever it is, he wants less from me than I obviously want from him, or else we would never be able to come to an agreement on wage. So the thing is like, it seems like a much more moral proposition to me that you get to determine that if a person has their own private equity and resources and don't want to pay you less just because you're a woman, that seems like it's their business.
Well, a little birdie.
There's no validity in any argument in feminism. It gives women an excuse to hold themselves unaccountable for their own actions. Somebody else is at fault. I feel this way. I feel that way. I can do whatever I want because I feel some kind of way. Then they have a tendency of what? Trying to extract an emotional reaction from a person for a profit. It's all about control, right? I'm pretty sure a large portion of women look at men and think that they're service animals. They're to service them. Wow. Well, you got serviced by me, fools. Now what? Boom! Nothing to say for yourself? Uh-huh.